What's going on, everybody? Happy Monday. I see Mouth just jamming out to the intro song. I love that tune, by the way. I love that tune. Never gets old.
Yeah, it is. Never. Not at all.
So,
Intro song, intro tune. Ladies and gents, Downtown Fanatics is here for you.
how you been, buddy? How's the show? You just recorded Downtown Sports. You're ready to come on
Yeah,
my program. You're doing a doubleheader,
yeah.
baby.
Hell yeah. And just coming off the NBA draft, now getting ready to talk about some best ball drafts. It's all draft all day. That's
Yes,
what I'm doing
sir.
today.
Love it. So this is a specific segment we kind of came up with. It's kind of our baby. 3 years ago, I think we debuted the similar type segment. It's called Would You Rather, where we get a group of players and we go through and we figure out who we want. You wanted to spin it to where this is best ball, this is underdog, and we're going to include our ownership percentages. So, Mouth, you sent me your ownership percentages. You don't know a lot of them. I know mine. So I kind of picked the players that are going close to each other that had interesting ownerships for you and for me that are back to back to back. And we're going to talk this out and figure out if we're making mistakes or, if we're right on the players we're taking. And one thing I think we need to factor in is that sometimes, especially with the wide receiver position, we might be taking a specific guy because we like the quarterback more because stacking's so important.
Yeah, that's exactly why I want to do this because, here's the deal. I think a lot of people are maybe they're thinking I'm full of crap when I say I'm new at this. I really am. I'm new at really doing this at the level that we're trying to do it here on the channel, right? I know a lot of actual football. I could pick games, I could analyze film, tell you who has the actual skills to be a good player. I'm new at translating this to the math game that is fantasy football. So what I want this to be today for everybody here is this to be like a master's class, right? For everybody. This needs to be kind of like get your notepads out, get your pen and paper. If you're one of the Gen Zers that watch, get your notes apps. Take down all the notes. Hell, if it wasn't embarrassing for me to do so, I would have notes. Because Rob's about to teach us all a master's class of this is the amateur, that's the master.
And you mentioned the math of it, and specifically best ball, the math is important because, roster construction, build, stacking, where redraft is way less math involved. You can build a team a lot of different ways and win, and you can in best ball as well, but there's specific algorithms and ways to attack these, and we're going to kind of dive into that as well. But the math is very important in best ball. But I'm just super excited about the segment just because I thought it was a great idea from Al.
This gives me an idea. She's dead.
We're not dead, though. Before we get into the segment, though, I want to talk about the Kyle Pitts contract a little bit. And I just want to ask you if this changes things for you because Kyle Pitts was essentially going to play on the franchise tag. And he hadn't really earned, he had a nice 6-game stretch to end the year with Kirk Cousins, with Drake London being out. But it's been a disappointing career. He's still only 25 years old. And they invested pretty heavily in him. Does this change anything for you? I think we all knew he was a number 2 receiver, even though he's a tight end on that offense. If you take Bijan out, number 3 weapon. But the number 2 pass catcher on this team, and he's in line for a big workload. And I think that the coaching changes there. Stefanski likes to use the tight end. Are you a little more bullish on Kyle Pitts? I know you already loved Kyle Pitts before this in best ball. Are you a little more bullish on Kyle Pitts now that he did get paid and that maybe they'll feature him a little bit more?
I liked him now, really a lot now at the ADP he was going. If you noticed, recently, I would say I wish I could have included some of maybe what we've been doing as of late in best ball. It's in the show because as of late, I love Kyle Pitts a lot more than Sam Laporta at the ADP he's going now. I think that's going to change because his ADP is going to go up now that he's gotten paid. Now that he's gotten paid, people are going to, start to go, oh, now it's Stefanski, Pitts. Who else is there to catch passes besides Drake London? Stefanski has completely misused Jerry Jeudy, completely misused any wide receiver he's ever gotten. Look at what he did to Odell Beckham. I mean,
but David Njoku was very relevant the last 2 years, so he does know how to use a tight end. And I think one of the things I was worried about was the low chance that he got traded, right? And like it was a mixed bag, right? There was situations where it might have been better for him in terms of better quarterback, right? Better ecosystem, but it wouldn't have been a better situation in terms of target share because there's no receivers there.
Name me 5 tight ends more physically gifted than Kyle Pitts.
Well, you can't because name me a tight end that's gone in the top 5 and like he's it. Like he is it. So, and there wasn't a smart pick, but obviously there was some raw tools there. Being 6'6", running the 40 time. The problem is his film has never translated to what we saw. In terms of the underwear Olympics, like he has never looked like a 4.4 guy ever. I mean,
but if there is a guy that's ever going to get that out of you in the NFL, there are 3 people that would do it. 1, failed at it, Arthur Smith. 2, he's currently coaching the team now.
Yeah. Yeah, or, I was thinking that the Kansas City trade rumors, which made a lot of sense, but it wouldn't have been good for him this year because the other guy, Kelsey.
However, number 3, the other guy happens to just be in Detroit with Sam Laporta.
That would be awesome.
Pitts and Laporta are going to be in some form of combination of one and Pitts and Laporta will both be in the top 5 this year. Promise you that.
Yeah, I think one of either Warren or Loveland will probably have a letdown. Dakota wants to talk about the Shedeur Sanders trade rumors, and this is wild because what are they realistically going to fetch for Shedeur Sanders? Like, he was a 5th-round NFL draft pick. We all agree he should have been like a 3rd-rounder, but the bottom line is he was a 5th-rounder. They're not going to, no team's going to give a 4th-rounder for Shedeur. They could have just drafted him last year in the 4th round. So why would the Browns even take a 6th-rounder for Shedeur? Maybe they're sold on Deshaun Watson. I think that's what Dakota's hoping, because if Deshaun Watson starts all year, Dakota's going to be a millionaire in best ball. Pretty confident in that.
Because the Jets are stupid. Because the rumors that you're hearing are the Jets. Because in New York, it's the Jets. It's always the fucking Jets.
That's silly. I mean, you know what?
Because it's the Geno room. No, because the Geno rumors popped up. Because the Geno thing popped up, and then all of a sudden the rumors pop up that the Jets are possibly interested in Shedeur. It's bullshit. This ain't happening.
I don't want him to go there.
Muji is not trading for Shedeur. None of this is happening unless Prime has managed to get dirt on Woody Johnson that Donald Trump doesn't already have. This trade isn't happening.
Woody Johnson seems like a creep, man. Jay watched Flock draft one today. I enjoy yours. Thank you, buddy. His is just not as entertaining, and you get a lot of good information, a lot of good knowledge, a lot of good stats popping up on the screen. You also get to hear about the algorithm in terms of adding in pi. Well, if you look at Kyle Pitts, week 7 through week 9, he was a letdown, but if you multiply it by pi, you get a top 5 tight end. It's a good steal.
Do you know what? Here's the thing. That guy needs computers to do all that math. I could do that in my head. He needs to have a computer there to add all those algorithms together about now he should draft this many running backs with this amount of players. Right. We could do that in our heads because we're freaking nuts.
And it's a feel, right? It's a feel. You kind of know what you're doing, and I understand it, and I get to, in his end, he does have a lot going on, but it's no more than I have going on a stream, so you should be able to just handle it, Flock. And he's a better basketball player than I am. I'll say that.
Yeah, he is. But here's the one thing I'll say. If you're drafting, right? Let's say, okay, you get Puka, right? If you get Puka, if you give a mouse a cookie, you're gonna ask for a glass of milk. If you draft a Puka Nacua, you're gonna want a Matthew Stafford. If you're going to want a Matthew Stafford, you're going to want a Blake Corum.
Terrence Ferguson, my boy.
There you go. I mean, if you draft Puka, you should not be escaping that best ball draft without Blake Corum, Matthew Stafford, and Terrence Ferguson. That's
late values. Dakota,
it just makes sense.
Everyone's a better coach than Aaron Glenn, okay? Everyone.
Ron.
Now, Deion was a better player for sure. Aaron Glenn, really, really good player. But Deion Sanders, I mean, I think he's a solid coach. I think he's a good leader, and he is a guy that could lose a locker room. Aaron Glenn has never once commanded a locker room ever. He doesn't have one to lose, if that makes sense. You know this. You're in New York now, so.
Frank Reich is the one thing that's been making headlines about everybody loves it. The offense. Everybody loves the offense. Garrett Wilson is giddy. Adonai Mitchell and Geno Smith apparently have the most chemistry of between quarterback and receiver on the team. Everything is looking really happy between Frank. Like, Garrett Wilson is not a person who's dishonest with the media. If he's pissed, and he's going to freaking tell you. He don't give a damn. Breece Hall has always been – the one thing about the New York, this crop of Jets, is they do not care if it looks good or looks bad with the team. They're going to do and say what they want because they really don't respect the owner. So if they're saying they're happy, they mean it.
Yeah. Breece Hall's happy. He got that bag of money, baby.
Yeah,
and Geno's just happy to be away from the Raiders. I mean,
he's happy. And imagine you're Geno Smith. This is a chance for you to right the wrongs that were committed towards you as a rookie and at the start of your career, and right the wrong of screwing up in New York. This is everything you ever wanted. Like, imagine you screw up the place where you got drafted. You were kicked out of New York City and just basically viewed as the worst thing that ever happened to this city on a football field. That's Geno Smith. And you have a chance to come back and right that wrong. I couldn't imagine a better scenario for him. In your career,
Francis. It is more of a baseline channel. What's weird is he makes it really complicated with all the gizmos and gadgets. So like the amateurs probably just like, what the hell is this? Where like there needs to be a middle ground for amateurs. And best ball is first timers, man. You're gonna lose money. Mouth, you're lucky that we got. You started hot. You know a lot of ball. So like you're just first timer because of the best ball, like the strategy involved. But I feel like you're also a quick study, and I think you're in the right spot with the community. With this show, like you are already in year 3 in my mind, just based on where you're at and how you draft, except for sometimes drafting 4 quarterbacks or 4 tight ends.
Like I said, that was an experiment. Because here's what happened in that draft. Like now I could actually honestly tell you the story. I wanted the Mahomes worthy stack. That went to hell. And then after that, every quarterback I took was either injury prone or basically, get the hell out of here.
You got to dive into them, though. You have to dive into the risk. And I know it's a sit and go at that point, but that's probably why you wouldn't have done that in a tournament. But you got to dive into the risk of Malik Willis and Tyler Shuck, because if you're drafting them, you have to buy in on them, at least in this specific instance.
And then I noticed I had a lot of Vegas players. So I'm like, you know what? I didn't like any of the receivers or the tight ends or the backs that I was being offered at that point either. I didn't want any of them on my team. I'm like, you know what? I don't like these things. These are not things I want.
I would rather the quarterback. So thank you. I'm not going to guarantee the side bet's a W, but I do like my chances. I'm one that only bets typically if I'm very confident in things for side bets.
I wouldn't have taken it if you didn't give me the 25 points, but since you gave me the 25, I'm telling you, I think I got that.
I can't wait, man. Dakota says also the 2 Florida teams.
I think we will both. However, I will say this: I think we both place.
I hope so. I hope I place in all these fucking tournaments. Dakota says Tampa and Miami. Miami's a great spot for Shedeur Sanders, because they need a backup there because Cade Klubnik is not the answer. Or sorry, who's the backup in Miami? It's not even, I'm thinking of the Jets. Who's the Miami's backup right now?
Garrett Wilson.
You mean Zach Wilson?
Yeah. Well, that was Zach Wilson's entire career.
Better quarterback.
Zach Wilson's entire career's stats were thanks to Garrett Wilson. So it's Garrett
Quinn
Wilson.
Ewers, bro. It's Quinn Ewers.
Isn't Zach Wilson still there? Zach Wilson is still in Miami.
Zach Wilson's on the Saints. Good call, Blake. Zach Wilson's on the Saints. It's Quinn Ewers out of Texas, who I have never been a fan of. He was
Zach Wilson is on the Saints. So where's Rattler?
He's still there. So they have 3 quarterbacks. That's a nice quarterback room. Very nice quarterback room.
That's actually a sick quarterback. If Zach Wilson ever got the chance to actually get behind center for the Saints, that would be the reclamation of his career.
Big ass arm. Really all right, you ready to get in the segment, dude?
Let's do it.
Let's get it done. I labeled it
but
underdog
before we do
values,
it, we need to make sure, are those super chats working? Last time we had a problem with those.
Yeah, we did. Apparently it got age restricted. I feel like I was on my best behavior last night too. So
maybe because we kept on talking about I don't know. You were definitely on your best behavior last night.
Yeah, I was like super PC last night for me. You know,
I know.
I said a lot of crazy shit in the show. So you know what? Sometimes maybe it was a glitch. All good. You know what? I'm very happy that we got the fantasy dog into the Patreon though. He joined last night, so we got him in the community. And
we got one in the Patreon last night. Here's what I want tonight. I want one in the Patreon, and we need some super chat dollars. We need some super chat dollars for the content we're about to give you. 2 in the
pink and 1 in the stink is what you're saying.
That's right. Hell yeah. Let's go.
There we go. We're working. Shibby from Dakota. Thank you, my dude. And we will end the draft. We will end the show with an underdog draft, possibly. But we have a long segment to get through here. And I labeled it underdog ADP values, but it's pretty much a would you rather. Again, thank you, Dakota. You're the man. Let's start off with the first group of names. Again, Mouth does not know any of his ownership percentages. And he's going to go off his heart right now, right? And your head. And let's start with the first group here. The first group is running backs here at the end of the first round. We have James Cook, Ashton Genty, and Saquon Barkley. Barkley's more of an early second-round pick. But I put these guys together because Devin Achane's kind of been falling recently outside of these guys. So I want you to tell me who you want in a vacuum, right? No quarterback correlation, none of that kind of stuff. Just in general, half PPR. This is half PPR underdog. Who do you want? James Cook, Ashton Genty, and Saquon Barkley. Kind of rank them and chat about them for a second.
Cook, Barkley, Genty.
Pretty easy for you?
Hard. The only reason I say Cook is because his breakaway ability, Barkley, his breakaway ability. I haven't seen Genty do that yet because I haven't seen him run behind a legitimate offensive line. He might have a chance to do that this year. I just haven't seen him do that at the NFL level yet in a half PPR scenario. It would be Cook, Barkley, Genty. Reason I take Cook over Barkley is when I have to include the offense.
All right, ready to hear your percentages? It's pretty wild. 8% on all 3 of them. They're all tied for you. Right on board. 8% is average ownership of a player because it's 12-team leagues typically. So you are even on all these guys. Barkley goes the latest. So I'll give you my percentages. I have 33% Barkley right now. I have 12% James Cook, and I have 8% Ashton Genty. Now, for me, I have a caveat here. In full PPR, I think I want Ashton Genty first.
Oh, hell yeah. Full PPR is Ashton Genty, Saquon Barkley, then James Cook. Because for some reason, I don't know why, they just never throw it to him. Even though they should. They should
27 to 35 catches, which is kind of what Saquon's been living in. He had 33 his last year and 37 his first year in Philly. But we both expect that to go way up this year to like 45 or 50. So I think Barkley is number 2 for me no matter what. I have Cook ahead of – I would want Cook ahead of Barkley, though. The reason Barkley's owning 33% compared to 12% Cook is that Barkley goes about 5 picks later. Typically, James Cook is a top 11 pick, where Barkley falls to like 14 or 15. Usually, I take Barkley at 13, though. But so, yeah, I'm 33% Saquon. Do you think that's wild to have that much on Saquon Barkley?
Not completely, because the guy is just a physical specimen. Everybody's worried about, what about him getting hurt, They're giving him Christian McCaffrey's reputation without the injury history to match it.
No, and his are usually minor injuries outside the ACL. Like, Christian McCaffrey has the nagging stuff, the chronic stuff.
Guys, he's not running behind the Giants O-line anymore. Okay? Even at its worst, the Eagles O-line is maybe top 15. At its best, the Giants O-line is top 19, usually.
Are we in
when
lockstep
Saquon was
that
running
Ashton
behind
Genty, Are we in lockstep that Ashton Genty should be third in half PPR?
Fifth.
No, I'm saying third of this group. Cook, Genty, Barkley.
Half PPR,
I get
yeah,
it's close.
no.
Like I just looking at the Raiders, I think they're going to be competitive. But I think his major value this year is the fact he should have 60 catches minimum. I think his upside is 80 catches. I really think he has an 80 catch season in the realm of possibility, especially with the first potentially 5 games with Kirk Cousins, who's just going to throw to Bowers and Genty every time because there's no receivers to throw to and he can't throw the ball downfield.
I mean, you can throw the ball downfield because you have Trey Tucker, and he's just I go zoom.
And it's a decent offensive line. You know, it is a better offensive line in Vegas than it had been because that was the worst offensive line ever last year. But Kirk Cousins just has no mobility and not a lot of arm strength anymore. So he's trying to get the ball out on time. He always was kind of that player, but now he's going to have the quickest, time to release in the league this year. I feel like that's what they're going to want to do because they just can't have him sit back there. He'll get murdered.
And that's why he's going to have the quickest time to the bench that, we ever thought. Mendoza will be out of there by week
Mendoza,
5.
Bro. All right, ready for
that's
the
why I'm saying
here?
Mendoza will be out by week 5, and that's why my 4 quarterback strategy will work.
Can't wait. Second group here, we have running backs as well in the second round. We have Derrick Henry, Chase Brown, and Marion Hampton here. I think Hampton goes the earliest typically. He's usually in 16, 17 range. Chase Brown, 17, 18. Derrick Henry right around pick 20. Half PPR, how are you going to shake this down? Give me your first initial impressions. Henry, Brown, Hampton.
I would personally, I rank them in a vacuum if
They're tough. They're all pretty tough. People love Marion Hampton, though. They love him. Apparently, he's being compared to Terrell Davis, which is just a wild statement to make.
That
Mike
is
McDaniel
wild.
also is known for doing some drugs. So
I've been telling you about that entire at Adam Gaze to that Jim Harbaugh, Mike McDaniel. Oh my God. An ambulance is going to be called there by like week 6.
So who do you like in this group, man? Who do you want? Middle of the second round to end of the second round?
Middle to end of the second round. Out of that group, you'd be surprised, but to me, the answer is Marion Hampton. I love the fact that, Chase Brown gets all the work, but I think everybody has forgotten about Taj Brooks. I think he will start to eat into some work.
And Samaje Perine. They love using Samaje Perine around the goal line.
So, there is a back committee in Cincy as well. And, oh, yeah, by the way, Joe Burrow just loves to throw the ball like 35 times a game. So, Harbaugh's preference is to run the football a whole hell of a lot and to use his running backs. So I think there is enough work for Marion Hampton and Kamani Vidal and Keaton Mitchell to all get it for Marion Hampton to get 16 touches a game. I love Derrick Henry, but he's only on the field for half the snaps.
Well, he has only been on the field for half the snaps under Harbaugh. That should change, and I think the downside is he's a year older. You know what I mean? But, man, so rank these guys. Derrick Henry, Chase Brown, and Marion Hampton. I'm going to give you your ownership percentage after, and then I'll discuss mine after this.
Marion Hampton, Chase Brown, Derrick Henry.
All right. Well, you have 4% Derrick Henry. You have 16% Chase Brown and 12% of Marion Hampton. So not too far off. 4% on Derrick Henry and half PPR. Mouth, what are you doing? He's going the latest of all these guys. He's going pick 19, ADP. I can't get off Derrick Henry. I can't get off the best offense, in my mind, the best offense of the bunch, at least in terms of the touch share, right? It's going to be Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews, and Derrick Henry. A whole lot of Derrick Henry around the goal line.
Because by that point, because to be honest, out of those 3, the one that you didn't highlight is the guy that I've been taking more often, which is Kenneth Walker, because he's been dropping below Marion Hampton and Chase Brown. So to me, I was taking, if I had a vacuum choice of all those guys, I would be taking Kenneth Walker, or I would be going for Breece Hall.
Same. I didn't put him on here because we're both really high on Kenneth Walker, and that would have been the answer. So, and I feel like Kenneth Walker, at least in our drafts, goes a lot higher because we're in these drafts, and we take a lot of Kenneth Walker. I think I need to
the other guy
15%.
The other guy on that list. The other guy on that list that I'd be going for more often than not is Breece Hall, because I feel he's the best combination of workload, toughness, running through the line, and catching the football. And
so you have
also
Breece Hall and
belief.
Derrick Henry in the same tier in half PPR. Is what you're telling me?
Yeah, and I would take.
You would take Breece Hall? Are you gonna say Breece Hall over Derrick Henry?
Right now, yeah, I would.
Bro, well, okay. You need to take some of that money and throw it on Breece Hall's touchdown prop. You know what it's at? Breece Hall rushing touchdowns over under. I know he gets some receiving touchdowns, but what do you think it's at?
Oh, his rushing touchdowns over under is probably like at 8.
5.5. So is Chase Brown, actually. You know what Derrick Henry's is at?
Oh, it's got to be at 10.
13, bro. 12. I think it's 12.5. Derrick Henry, 12.5. That's what I'm saying. He has 7. They're projecting 7 more touchdowns. And I think that might be health because Derrick Henry never gets hurt. I'm just saying this is a half PPR. Like, Derrick Henry needs to be taken higher. And so I have 15% Derrick Henry. I'm definitely above board there. I have 5% Chase Brown and 2% of Marion Hampton. As you guys know, I've been pretty vocal about not being into a Marion Hampton this year. I feel like the cost is just too much. The uncertainty. I'm not denying the upside of a Marion Hampton. I just see a mini 3-way committee, and I see last year, I know it was a different circumstance. You know, there were a lot of injuries in the offensive line there with Alt and Slater, but they were 20th in points per game last year. So, like, they could get twice as good, essentially, and be only top 10, where I feel like the Ravens' baseline, if Lamar stays healthy, another big if, is top 10, right? They're always a top 10 offense.
True. Now, the only thing I would counter with is the fact that A, Derrick Henry another year older, B, the reason I've taken Amari Hampton more in these drafts is because everybody lets Amari Hampton drop to like the Chase Brown, Jeremiah Love levels, and I'm getting him at like 17 or 18. Which to me then is tremendous value, and I'll grab him there. I'm not taking Amari Hampton at 11 ever. He's not a first round back. That's ridiculous.
I agree with Francis here. He says ranking Hampton over Henry is terrorism. So here's how I phrase it. In a full PPR, I'm definitely taking Hampton over Derrick Henry because I'm not silly, and Derrick Henry's upside for receptions. Every year I say it, he should get 40 a year. They should design 40 little screen passes for him a year because Derrick Henry in space is a nightmare. When he gets ahead of steam, which gives him a head of steam, but they'll never do it. Lamar doesn't throw to his running backs either way. But in half PPR, I'm taking Derrick Henry. But in full PPR, I am taking both these guys over Derrick Henry because they just need to catch 60 balls, and Derrick Henry's touchdowns won't matter. You know what I mean? Like those 40 points, that's 8 touchdowns right there. So in PPR, I take the pass catching back for sure. But Derrick Henry's still a nice floor play. One of these years, I'm going to keep on saying it, Derrick Henry should have 30 receptions. Like, can we just get that for Derrick Henry? Not even for the PPR aspect, which is nice. He's going to average like 14 yards a catch on these because he's going to be against a linebacker and he's going to burn him, or a safety or a corner, which he just bowls them over. I mean, but you know what? They've not been very smart in Baltimore for a while with Derrick Henry. If
you get Derrick Henry in the open field, he could run 20.5 miles per hour. He's been clocked.
Yeah.
I want everybody to just imagine big Derrick Henry running at you at 20 miles an hour. I think defenders will just move aside and let him score.
Francis says, if you had to win a Super Bowl and ride one running back this year, would it be Henry or Hampton or Henry or Hall? So Henry, Hampton, or Hall. I mean, the safe answer is Derrick Henry. The difference is Derrick Henry works in a specific style offense where you have to feed Derrick Henry. You can't give him these. This was a problem with Harbaugh at the end of his tenure. Like, they were using him inconsistently. You have to literally pound Derrick Henry. And remember how Barry Sanders was one of those guys that was always getting 2, 3, 1, -1. Then he'd break off 70. Like, Derrick Henry's a rhythm runner. He's also a runner that wears down the defense, and they have been misusing him. And all that being said, Derrick Henry still scores like 14 touchdowns a year with the misuse. But the worry is he's 1 year older. I'm not worried about with Derrick Henry because he's not of this earth. He is a superhuman. The guy's a freak. He's also the hardest worker ever. and he has a lot to prove. I think he was embarrassed last year. And let's go back to those fumbles, Mouth. He lost them 2 games. It was, never happened with Derrick Henry before ever, but he specifically lost that Bills game for him. And then there was another game like week 7 where he essentially fumbled the game away. And this is not like a situation we've seen with some other running backs with, who the hell am I thinking of? Not J.K. Dobbins, but Ramondre Stevenson, right? Where it's like that just happens. Like, this is not an issue for Derrick Henry. I'm not worried about the fumbles. Dude's got a lot to prove. The Ravens have a lot to prove. A lot of haters there on the Ravens this year, and just I think their window is closed, man. They have 1 year, 1 to 2 years. It's closing fast.
I'm one of those Ravens haters. I don't like the coaching hire. I don't like the OC. I don't like where they're going with it. I don't think the way forward is to just hand the ball more often to an aging running back. I think using Derrick Henry more strategically in a way that benefits him best and benefits the team best is the way to go. But instead, they plan on using Derrick Henry like a Madden character. That's just not.
Ryan Clark says he would put Henry down 10 out of 10 times, filling the hole. Hopefully he's referring to Ryan Clark in his prime. That's not accurate. Now, Derrick Henry isn't actually as powerful as he should be in terms of like in the hole, but where he's powerful is those stiff arms when he gets outside the hole. Like, you're not bringing him down. He's actually running away from you too. But when I say he's not as powerful as you think, he's still the most powerful running back in the league because he's 250 pounds. So Ryan Clark.
Yeah, but that's why I'm saying.
I mean, Ryan Clark's
that's also why. True, but that's also why I'm saying, like, it's better to use Henry more strategically at this point in his career. You need to get him on the outside. You need to get him in screen pass situations where he's in the open field where he could actually dominate. Derrick Henry is not the guy he was in Tennessee where he could just eat 10 defenders. I think he's 90%.
I think he's 90% of that, though. I think the film last year was 90%.
But 90% of that is not 100%.
Well, I get it. I think the biggest issue, and this is what
that's where you now got to get Derrick Henry in the open field. You have to get him in the open field, catching passes.
Derrick Henry's efficiency goes like the dual threat. He didn't have Lamar for a stretch last year, and when he did have Lamar post injury, he was compromised. Lamar was literally 60% of himself. So those RPOs, they were all just selling out on Henry because they're like, we dare Lamar to run. He's not going to get, instead of getting 22, he would get like 6, or he'd fumble, or he'd get hurt. So if Lamar is healthy, I don't know. I think I'm going to be out Derrick Henry. Again, I'm 15% an underdog right now on Derrick Henry, so definitely above board. Not quite the 33% I had on Saquon Barkley, though. That's big time.
Yeah, I completely agree. That's big time. But Saquon is worth big time. And to be honest, I think by the time Saquon Barkley's career is done, he might eclipse Derrick Henry's.
I don't know if he's going to have the longevity, but I guess we'll see. Francis says Hall has never been 90% of Henry either, and neither is Hampton. I'll ride that train until it stops. Same, man. I've been riding the Henry train for the last 3 years. The last year in Tennessee, and then both years in
Hall hasn't been Henry because Hall has been associated with shit. I mean, Derrick Henry on the Titans was associated with a playoff winning coach, great defense, decent quarterback play, and AJ Brown.
And commitment to the run. Major commitment to the run.
Breece Hall was associated with cocaine, methamphetamines, Zach Wilson, and Woody Johnson.
That's true.
And baby powder.
Well, I mean, I know it's better on the Jets this year. I know you're a lot higher than most. They will be better. I don't know. I think it's going to be somewhere between what you think a top 10 offense and what the majority of people think, which is a bottom 10 offense. I think they're going to be smack dab in the middle, 16, 17, which would be great for Breece Hall and great for the Jets. We have to move on to the third group here. Before I do that, though, I'm going to hit you guys with the intro, and we'll get to the third group after this. right there, not Arnold, but Braylon Allen has something to say about the Breece Hall ADP, and I think if Isaiah Davis is involved as well, that's my worry with Breece. Is I'm not sold on the offense, although I think it's going to be much improved, and I think it actually might be pretty damn good. But the three-headed committee potential, and I think Braylon Allen should be the goal line back. I think Breece Hall is an above-average goal line back. I think Braylon Allen hasn't showed that he's elite in the goal line, but he should be elite in the goal line. That guy is Derrick Henry size right now.
True, but the other thing is Frank Reich. He loves tossing the ball at a running back, and Geno Smith is great for play action. So all you need to do, have Geno throw a few bombs, have Breece Hall get a couple nice runs, get the defense all nice and loosey goosey. Toss.
Francis, I think a lot of people share this perspective. Hall now has Geno. He's cooked. I think we both have more hope for Geno this year. I think Geno's going to be better for fantasy than real life. I think he's going to throw a lot of picks. It's going to be a mini Jameis Winston experience. Do you agree with that?
You know what? You could do worse than the Jameis Winston experience.
Oh, yeah. It's also great for fantasy. Dakota says, what would you be doing in life if you had the Schwarzenegger body? I have my answer. What's your answer, Mouth?
I would be grating cheese with my abs for pay on OnlyFans.
I would be posting up on a nude beach every single day of my life. That's all I would do. I'd just walk around naked at a nude beach and just live my life.
I've been here when it was glory hole days, and I've been here when it wasn't. And so, having said that, I want me some glory hole.
There you go.
That's my answer. That's my answer for sure.
That's the best answer you can give. I mean, thanks, Jerry Jones. You gave the NFL a lot of glory hole for years.
All right, let's move on to the next group of guys here. Third group for you, buddy. You're going to like this. We're going to the wide receiver position. And we are moving over to Zay Flowers, T. Higgins, and Ladd McConkey. I feel like these ADPs are a little off. And most of the drafts I've done recently, I checked that. They've all going within 5 or 6 picks of each other. Essentially, end of the third, early fourth, right around that 3-4 turn. So who do you want here, buddy? Zay Flowers, T. Higgins, and Ladd McConkey.
I want T. Higgins. He scores touchdowns. He gets big plays. He gets looked at by his quarterback more than the other two.
Red zone,
I
baby.
feel like, to me, I feel like the only way Ladd McConkey really gets any burn is if the play isn't developing and Herbert's in trouble. If Herbert has time in the pocket, he's going QJ. Ladd McConkey is only a get-me-out-of-trouble escape valve type receiver. He's not a number one. He's not somebody that I would even trust to be better than either Zay Flowers or T. Higgins. I think he's physically unskilled. I mean, I think he was the lucky recipient of a bad offensive line and Justin Herbert having to sling footballs out of trouble. So if you want my opinion on Ladd there, that is. I would go my heart of hearts, T. Higgins, and then Zay Flowers, then Ladd McConkey. Although I got a feeling that that's not how I'm drafting them, is it?
No, you have 12% Zay Flowers, 4% T. Higgins, and 4% Ladd McConkey. Why the hell do you have just as much Ladd as T. Higgins? I think it's, I don't know what it is, because I don't think you draft a lot of Justin Herbert from what I've seen. So very confusing, because Ladd actually they all go right next to each other, like I said. So I'll give you my ownership. I have 12% Zay, 18% T. Higgins, and 2% Ladd McConkey. Let me say that again. 2%, just like milk, Ladd McConkey. I'm not buying it. I understand there's a chance I'm missing this one. If this offense goes nuclear, if Ladd McConkey is the receiver on the field and, all in 12 and 13 personnel, I think Trey Harris is going to factor in. I think Gatson is a pretty good receiving tight end. David Njoku is not a bad, 12 personnel guy, inline guy. They're going to throw the running backs.
I'll tell you why.
I don't think Ladd's a good player. I don't think he's a great player.
I'll tell you why. When you see somebody fall 20 to 22 picks below ADP, and you need a wideout, and everything else around it is running backs, I'm going to take the best quote-unquote player available. And the other wide receivers are just, they're wide receiver 2s or 3s. And Ladd is a wide receiver 2. So at that point, he's fallen into the range of players that I would put Ladd McConkey in. I'll take him.
Yeah, Ladd tends to fall. Of these two guys, Ladd falls the farthest at times. I feel like sometimes he gets reached on. That's why his ADP is equal to these guys. But we see a lot of times Ladd McConkey goes into the middle or the end of the 4th round, which, and I somehow only have 2%, but I just can't get on board. I understand the upside there. I much prefer Ladd McConkey in a full PPR, and this is half PPR. So T. Higgins all day for me is a smash in half PPR. He's a guy that has legitimate 12 touchdown upside if he stays healthy and Joe Burrow stays healthy. For me, Zay Flowers is the safest because he's the only show in town.
If Keenan Allen doesn't come back, then
he's not
maybe.
coming back. He's not coming back.
I
think
mean, maybe then Ladd could hit. But then again, like you said, Trey Harris comes into the building, and Trey Harris has very similar body statistics to Keenan Allen, and that's kind of what you drafted him to be. And
here's my thing about Keenan Allen. Does Keenan Allen move the needle to make you a Super Bowl team if you're not already? No. He's a nice insurance piece, but Keenan Allen's such a specific and type player, and he takes away from Ladd. You saw that last year. He can only play in the slot essentially, and then Ladd has played out of position, and then that's going to do is stunt Trey Harris's growth. So they have enough there with Quentin Johnson, with Trey Harris, with Ladd McConkey, with Gatson, with the running backs, with David Njoku. They have enough there. Don't bring in the old crusty veteran again. I feel like if they do, he should be sitting on the bench and be an insurance policy for a Ladd injury. So I'm not worried at all about Keenan Allen.
Kind of like what the Giants are doing with Odell Beckham and Juju Smith-Schuster. Those two are competing to see which one of them is the old veteran that plays and which one is the old veteran that's sitting on the bench going, "Yeah, guys, you can do it."
Francis says Ladd is solid, but I think he peaked. Chargers will spread the workload. I have a question for you on this one. So Ladd McConkey, really awesome rookie year, mostly because everyone else was hurt and there was no one else there, and it was just on crazy workload, right? Brian Thomas, even more epic rookie year, mostly because there was no one else there, and Mac Jones fucking loved him. Now, the worry is that Mac Jones is not there anymore, and Trevor Lawrence has never connected with Brian Thomas. Who is more likely to replicate their rookie year? And let's not, because Brian Thomas had a better rookie year. We'll call it who is more likely to be a wide receiver 1. And I think the easy answer is Ladd because he's going 3 rounds earlier. But I think they both have a similar chance to replicate that year. And why is Ladd going in the 3rd round, and why is Brian Thomas going in the 6th round?
Because Brian Thomas is associated with a garbage quarterback, while Ladd is associated with an actual quarterback with skills. Because when you saw Brian Thomas with Trevor Lawrence, it wasn't working. No. If you remember, it never worked with those two because Trevor Lawrence cannot throw the deep ball to save his freaking life. If somebody put a shotgun to the back of Trevor Lawrence's head and said, "If you do not hit this deep pass, I'm going to blow your brains out," Trevor Lawrence would be ripped.
Yeah, I think most guys would. That's a lot of pressure. I mean, I don't know if that's really a good coaching
tool. But that's his entire job. That's what he gets paid millions of dollars to do.
I think Trevor Lawrence.
And that's when he got drafted out of college. No, when he got drafted out of college, that was his entire skill. I could run around and throw the deep ball on the run accurately. What the hell has happened?
I don't know. And Liam Cohen isn't really embracing that because Liam Cohen's a very West Coast style coordinator. He wants to get the ball quick and hit his slot receivers and get the ball in space. So
his quarterback does not.
I do
his
like
quarterback
Brian Thomas
does not match.
But
I guarantee you, Trevor Lawrence is not going to be the quarterback of the Jacksonville Jaguars going forward much longer. If Liam Cohen is going to remain the coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars much longer, One of those two has to go.
Mouth is spitting some stuff here,
between
man.
that and Muhammad.
Why the fuck would it be between that or Muhammad? Why don't you just pick a common name like a normal person?
Muhammad is the most commonly used name on earth. Read a fucking book for one.
Just think about it. The schemes don't. The scheme
here
doesn't fit the quarterback.
Our fourth group is wide receivers as well. This is essentially end of the third, early fourth, kind of the same bucket, but three different names for you. And we are going to go with Tet McMillan, Garrett Wilson, and Emeka Egbuka, all going in the early fourth rounds. What do you got on this one, Mouth? You're going to be surprised by your ownership percentages.
I want Garrett Wilson. I want half PPR. I want Garrett Wilson because I just want the most talented player out of the three. I want Tet McMillan next because he is definitely the number one, and then Emeka Egbuka. As much as everybody's assuming he's just going to repeat the role that he had last year, he's going in the Mike Evans role, which means he's not getting nearly as targeted. Godwin is going to go back to being Godwin, and Egbuka is just I don't think he has the guts to play traditional X. He gets hurt too much. I'm not really in on Egbuka.
You know what? You know yourself because you are not in on Egbuka at all. You ready? What are you gonna guess that your share is on Emeka Egbuka?
And you got to give credit to this rookie sensation wide receiver out of Ohio State, Emeka Egbuka. Emeka Egbuka. Emeka Egbuka.
Got to be like 2%.
Spot on, 2%. Let's get to the rest real quick. Derek, shout out Derek. Thanks, buddy. Reminder, the Jags were a surprise team and won the division. Not only that, they won 8 straight games to end the year. They were 13-4. And they were in a one-score game that Josh Allen barely pulled out. They should have won that game. Trevor Lawrence played awful. He said that take is a little strong there, Mouth, on the Trevor Lawrence thing.
It's not strong at all. Trevor Lawrence and Daniel Jones's careers are literally a mirror.
Mm-hmm. Look at Trevor Lawrence seems worse because he was the number one pick, and he was the most touted guy since Andrew Luck. Where Daniel Jones was the fifth pick, right, with the Giants. Like it wasn't supposed to be all that in a bag of chips.
Well, no, he wasn't supposed to be. But the difference is the only reason Daniel Jones got kicked out of his city and Trevor Lawrence got to stay in his is because Daniel Jones was in New York City, and we demand everything from you immediately. And Trevor Lawrence is in Jacksonville, looks pretty, and his media does not demand things like, the Jacksonville media is nice to you. It says, isn't that a good job you did this season?
The upside with Trevor Lawrence, though, is there's weapons all over the place because we still like Brian Thomas. There's a lot of weapons. And Liam Cohen, I think, has proven, like, as much as I like Kellen Moore, Liam Cohen has proven a little more to me than Kellen Moore just because he did it his first year as a head coach. Their coordinator days were similar, right? Both elites and just bright, young offensive minds. I put Liam Cohen closer to Ben Johnson, or you can almost say I put Ben Johnson closer to Liam Cohen. I think they're both just tied at the hip as these guys that came from good systems. They have good leadership skills as well, which is big. They're not just like Mike McDaniel, great coordinator, terrible head coach. The guy could not lead a group of preschoolers.
Like, I'll give you the example that I think you're trying to really throw here. If you look at the two coordinators that came out of Tampa that worked with Baker Mayfield, right? They would be Dave Canellis and Liam Cohen, right? Which one has done a better job with their quarterbacks so far? I say Liam Cohen has been a better coach overall because he did a better job with the team. Dave Canellis has done a better job with his quarterback, but I don't think he's been as good of a coach.
If Trevor Lawrence can't make this work, though, and again, it's all relative because they won 13 games last year. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I think he's kind of a perfectionist, right? Where if they win 10 games and Trevor Lawrence plays a little worse than last year, which would not be great ball, take away the rushing.
Lawrence
stuff,
is gone.
And he
They'll
probably
get
won't get
Lawrence
another
out of
job,
here.
because if you can't succeed here, buddy, it's the same thing with Caleb Williams. If he can't succeed with Ben Johnson and a decent offensive line and all those kind of things, like now I have less worry on Caleb than I do on Trevor Lawrence.
Oh no, Lawrence will get another. Lawrence will get another job. That's not the thing. I just think that Liam Cohen will not suffer bullshit, and he'll kick Trevor Lawrence out of here, and the coaching and the general manager and the ownership will believe in Cohen because they're winning games under him, and they'll say, okay, you think Lawrence is not it? If we lose, you're out.
You ready for the rest of your percentages here? So you have 2% on Ibuka.
Got it.
You're 28% on Garrett Wilson, so you're right there. And then Ted McMillan, 8%, right on board there, 8%. I have 4% Ibuka. I have 12% Garrett Wilson and 10% Ted McMillan. So it's pretty close for me there. I think I would prefer Garrett Wilson in full PPR a little bit more than Ted even. Like it would probably go from 14%, 12 to 14, and 10 down to 8. Although I like Ted. Ted has the, I love Jalen Coker, but there's not a lot of competition there for Ted McMillan. The problem is
not at all.
Is Bryce Young is pretty bad, and I have some hope for Bryce Young, but Bryce Young is pretty bad at football.
I don't think Bryce Young is bad at football. I just think Bryce Young's height is bad at football. Does that make sense?
Yeah. We got something here. This is just for you, buddy. This is accurate. This is Trevor Lawrence was the best quarterback in the NFL to end the year, and our boy Dakota threw us some stats. Last 4 weeks last year, T-Law 1,200 yards passing, 14 touchdowns, 0 picks, 300 yards a game essentially.
Yep. Had a great stretch.
But the playoff game, it was bad. He lost that game.
Did he? How many passes over 15 yards did he throw?
Now you're getting deep. We don't have that. Blake has to check that out for us. But if that's the system, that's the system.
Not many.
And that's a good system for Trevor Lawrence. How do you run off a quarterback when you are winning 13 games? I think Mal's point was if they win 7 games this year, which is not out of the realm of possibility with that defense being bad. We on the show a couple days ago, we talked about me and Nico talked about the Devin Lloyd loss, which is really underrated. They gave up.
That is very bad.
Lloyd missed 3 games in the middle of the year. They gave up 100 points in those games, and it was to the Rams. Week 7 was the Rams. Okay, I'll give them that. Number 1 offense in the league. The other 2 games were against the Texans and the Raiders. So that is not good. I mean, that is not good to be giving up 33 points a game when 2 of them are against the Raiders and the Texans. I think Mouth is frozen here. Let me, Mouth, you're frozen. He's looking really serious here. He's really serious. There he is. We got 2. We got a threesome here. Me and 2 Mouths. Oh no. I don't want that.
Okay, that was crazy. You can hear me, right?
Yeah, I got you. Jags traded their capital for a cornerback / wide receiver that takes his wife to parties and waits outside. Don't put anything past him. Nice call, Francis. That's the craziest thing of all this. This is why Liam Cohen's awesome, is that they whiff on the Travis Hunter pick. And not only did they whiff on the Travis Hunter pick, they literally traded capital to move up to draft Travis Hunter. And, part of it was the misuse and trying to play both ways, but also the fact that they got to specialize him and he got hurt. So all those things, it was just a bad situation. But, I have faith in Liam Cohen. We'll see how it works with our boy Travis Hunter. But, all right, Mouth, are you good? Can you hear me? Mouth, are you there? Mouth?
Yeah, I'm here.
We're good. Okay, so that was our 4th tier there.
That's it.
We had, like I said, I was 4% on Ibuka, 12% on Wilson, 10% on Tet. You were 28% on Garrett Wilson, and I do love Garrett Wilson. He's just never put it together, man. He has never put it together.
No, he hasn't, but he will with an actual professional quarterback for the first time in his freaking career. Like, honestly, when has he had a professional quarterback throwing in the football? He had Zach Wilson, Mike White,
old Aaron Rodgers,
who was hurt, and then but then the offensive coordinator was Nathaniel Hackett, so that didn't work. And then Justin Fields.
Who was the other guy?
What the hell was that
last year? Who was the guy that was really bad? Who was the other guy that was really bad?
I think you have a clip. I think you have a clip
I
as
don't
to
have
who that guy was.
bathroom clip anymore.
No, it
I
says
can find something.
Simple. I think his name was Simple, right?
Hey, you ever accidentally masturbate to young pictures of your mom?
Who the fuck starts a conversation like that? I just sat down.
I thought the
What's his actual
quarterback
name? Do you
was.
know?
I thought it.
No, give me
No,
the actual
I don't
name.
know. I really don't know the guy's
Someone
name.
check that for us. The guy that started Cook. It was Cook.
Oh yeah,
Brady
Brady Cook.
Oh,
Brady Cook.
Thank you, Blake. That guy was awful. All right, let's go to the fifth tier here. This is end of the fourth round ish. We have Terry McLaurin, Jamison Williams, and Jalen Waddle all kind of going back to back here. Terry McLaurin's been rising a little bit, and all these guys are kind of rising, but they're all going, middle to end of fourth round, sometimes early fifth for Waddle, but all right around the same range depending on who's drafting. Who do you prefer here, Mouth? Have your ownership. I want to hear your opinions first. Who do you got here? Who do you like? Give me the order.
I'll tell you who I'm going with. I'm going with literally, personally, I want Waddle. Waddle is going to be blazing, catching touchdowns. Literally, he is a wide receiver screen's best friend. Sean Payton is going to make such good use out of him. It's going to be unbelievable. Waddle is my guy out of those three.
What about the other? Give me your order, though. So Waddle's number one, Jamison Williams, and Terry McLaurin. Oh, there he goes. So I will give you mine. I'll give you my order. I know my order. My order is Terry McLaurin, Jamison Williams, and Jalen Waddle for me. So I'm going to play a clip here real quick to wait for Mouth because I want to give him his ownership percentages. So in a vacuum, we'll see what he likes.
Yeah, well, Mom also said for you to stop sticking your dick in the vacuum cleaner.
Hello? Hello? I said don't disturb me when I'm cleaning my room!
There he is. He's back. So give me your other two. So Waddle is number one for you. JMO and Terry McLaurin. Give me your order. So Waddle one, then who's two and who's three? You got me? While Mouth figures out his technical stuff real quick, I do want to give a shout out to all the peeps in here, keeping this show going in the off season. Appreciate all the Patreon guys. I got you now, Mouth. Appreciate all you guys. Thank you so much. A couple new guys here. I didn't add in Fantasy Dog. He'll be in here, but GM, Keith, you know who you guys are. Appreciate you guys. If you're interested in joining, check out the website. Go to the link in the description. We offer a lot of stuff besides just your support, which is huge. Discord community, it's the place to be. Community fantasy leagues. Guys, we have 2 spots left in our best ball league, our Fanatics best ball league, drafting in August. Reserve your spot now. It's all done through League Safe, so it's all pretty much guaranteed prize money. Guest appearances on the show. Mouse on right now. We had Dakota on Saturday. He did a hell of a job. Dakota stayed on for over 5 hours with us. Love having fans on the show. Free merchandise giveaways. We're giving away hats and we're giving away shirts and access to the early betting plays, 96 and 58. You guys know the drill. We just win money around here. Go to the website. Link in the description. Also, want to shout outs to Downtown Sports. That is Mouth and Beast program. Only 1 or 2 shows a week. They're on 23 platforms. They're on YouTube now as well, guys. Don't even subscribe to them. Go check them out. Listen to a little bit, and then you will subscribe. Downtown Sports on YouTube, where sports come home. They talk about anything relevant. They're going to talk about the World Cup right now. They're going to talk about the NBA draft, I'm sure, here this week, as well as some football stuff, too. So give them a listen. Do me a favor and just check them out. Please do. Please do. Blake, I would agree.
We just got done recording episode about the NBA draft. Julius Randle coming to the Brooklyn Nets on a big deal.
For free, man. Blake,
Literally
that
for free.
Luther Burden argument was all time. Ray was so tuned up for that. That's pretty awesome. Also, guys, for you guys that are actually in here, trying to give back to you guys a little bit, spread the word, get a friend, get a family member into the community. You're getting a 10% discount off of a fantasy league with us, or 1 month free of your membership. So I'm giving all that money right back to you. So why not get someone in the community and help grow it, help me, help you. Let's all help each other, and let's do it together.
Let's make this money. Let's make this
100%.
money. Let's do it.
Let's see. I'm excited for the end of the year when all the BTJ and Hunter haters are seeing their boys Parker and Myers out of Jacksonville. Definitely the Parker stuff is just gross. So
yeah, anybody that drafts Parker Washington, just thank them for the free space on the draft
in the
board.
6th round, especially. I'm fine with him in the 8th or 9th. For sure in PPR, but not in half PPR, especially.
Yep. I agree.
AJ DeBans is he pissed he went to Washington? Washington has a really good team right now, though. They have they have players at least. They have Trey Young, they have Anthony Davis, they have Alex Sarr, who I'm a big fan of. Like they have some talent.
I'm gonna give the community a tip. Every draft in the last round, just grab Luke McCaffrey. Just grab Luke McCaffrey.
No, he was talking NBA, but you love Luke McCaffrey, and he is a McCaffrey, so. I see what you're saying.
Going to the last. He's going to the last, but he's gonna be the number 2 receiver, and I don't know why no one is reading reports that are actually happening in DC. Everybody's drafting the rookie like he's going to be something, and everybody's drafting literally anyone else to catch the football but their number 2 receiver.
They're drafting Brandon Ayuk, who's not even on the team yet.
It makes literally 0 sense. In the last round, please, if you're in any of these drafts and you want to get somebody and you have Jaden Daniels and you've not stacked with him and you have no clue what the hell to do because you can't figure out how you're going to stack with Jaden Daniels, here's the answer. Draft Luke McCaffrey in the last round. No one else is thinking about it. And he's going to be their number 2 receiver.
Yeah. Speaking of Washington here, Terry McLaurin, Jameson Williams, and Jalen Waddle. You have Waddle. You want number 1. You want Waddle ahead of all these guys. Give me the rest.
I want Waddle, then McLaurin, then Waddle, then McLaurin.
And then JMO last.
Yep, I really have not taken much JMO. At least I don't think I've taken much JMO.
You ready for your percentages? So you are 8% on Jameson Williams. Even
am I a liar? Am I a liar?
You are 4% on Terry McLaurin. You are 2% on Jalen Waddle, brother.
I am a liar.
Jalen Waddle. Yeah, well, no, you just I don't know. It's wild, bro. It's wild.
What? You know what? But. The draft, when the draft board says they must have gone away.
All right,
players
ready for my
I want must have
here?
Blown away.
You ready for mine? I have 23% Terry McLaurin. I have 6% Jameson Williams and 6% Jalen Waddle. So a little lower on Jamo and Waddle, and very, very high on Terry McLaurin. And now his ADP is rising a little bit. I don't care. I'm comfortable with, especially in redraft and especially in full PPR, when I'm going to have more wide receiver heavy builds to start. I'm going to be taking Terry McLaurin at the 3-4 turn. I am comfortable taking him there because of what you mentioned. If Luke McCaffrey is his threat, if the rookie Antonio Williams, like Chikakonkwo, who I've loved for years, he's not a target earner, and the running back room is, I guess Rashad White's a solid pass catcher, but it's a bad running back room. So I want Terry McLaurin. We just saw Terry McLaurin finish as a top 6 receiver 2 years ago when Jaden Daniels was healthy. What's changed? I mean, what's changed?
Nothing.
I think people think Terry McLaurin sucks. And I get it was an outlier seeing the 13 touchdowns that McLaurin scored was an outlier for sure. Let's just make that 8 touchdowns. Let's make it 80 catches. Let's make it 1,100 yards and 8 touchdowns, worthy of a end of the 3rd round pick. He's getting drafted in the end of the 4th. So I love
the only times I'm able to get Terry McLaurin is when I'm not drafting with you guys.
Yeah, he always goes. I usually take him.
I can't take him if I don't. I could get him when I want to get him if I'm not drafting with y'all.
All right, let's go to the sixth group of players here. We have Jordan Tyson. We have Brian Thomas Jr. We have Marvin Harrison. Ooh, this is the wrong one. Sorry. This is this the one? Here. Oh, it's this one.
No, that's the Waddle one. Here we go.
There we go. Brian Thomas Jr., Jordan Tyson, and Marvin Harrison Jr. back to back to back. Essentially the sixth round for these guys. I can't believe Jordan Tyson is here. I love Jordan Tyson, the prospect. Give me your take. Who do you want of these guys? Give me your order. I'm going to give you your ownership percentages after that.
Because this is tough.
This is tough. Not for me, but I could see that the top two are tough. Mouse waiting. He's waiting. He's thinking. He's waiting.
Because I have a personal bias against Marvin Harrison Jr. He's burned me.
Everyone does.
But does. Marvin Harrison Jr., then Jordan Tyson, then Brian Thomas Jr.
Okay, you are at 6% Tyson, 10% Brian Thomas, 12% Marvin Harrison. That is your most owned there, Mouth. So I think it's because you like taking Brissett late, is my guess. You ready for mine? I have 1% Jordan Tyson. I am so off Jordan Tyson. I just am not butting a tie with Shuck. And I'm a big Chris Olave guy. I'm not really on Chris Olave either. Kind of fading this offense because I feel like people are assuming they're a top 10 offense, which is just wild to me. I do like Travis Etienne at value. I have 17% Brian Thomas and 17% Marvin Harrison. And I think mostly this comes down to the best ball format for me. And I feel like Tyson's going to be a nice floor play, almost like a Keenan Allen. That's who I comped into in the NFL draft. I want these. Okay. I want Brian Thomas's big playability, and I want Marvin Harrison's target share, right? They have to make Marvin Harrison a thing. I'm going aggressive with these picks because I think Jordan Tyson is probably the floor play. And I think I'm also a little concerned about Jordan Tyson's ability to stay healthy. And you could say the same thing about Brian Thomas, but he played through injuries last year. Marvin Harrison, the appendectomy and then the fluky heel thing. But they seem like guys are going to play a lot. So I want Brian Thomas, Marv, and then Tyson. I think I would order it Marv, Brian Thomas, Tyson. But it's close. I think obviously 17% on both is very even. Tyson is clearly a tier below for me.
Yes. But, the only reason I would say Tyson is not a tier below is because I think he's going to be featured in this offense. They needed somebody to replace Shaheed, and Jordan Tyson seems perfect for that role, and he's better than Shaheed. So I think he's an upgrade to what Rashid Shaheed is. So he's going to be able to at least perform the Shaheed role as a rookie. And he's going to advance beyond that, which is going to allow defenses to ease up off of Chris Olave, which is going to make Chris Olave even more dangerous. I think the player that gets hurt in that entire mess of a New Orleans offense is Juwan Johnson. And now that Zach Wilson ends up being backup number 3, you're pretty much telling me that the quarterback play of the New Orleans Saints really isn't going to drop because every one of those quarterbacks is a big arm quarterback that's going to take chances to wide receivers and pass catchers that are just really fast running down the field.
The way I phrase it, I understand
all of it in fantasy works.
I love Jordan Tyson, the prospect, but we can't get ahead of our skis in these rookies. We've seen Brian Thomas have a wide receiver 1 season. Now, there was a lot of other factors involved. We talked about that earlier. Marvin Harrison as a prospect has been a disappointment. The film has been bad. Everything is also on the Cardinals, which is not – they're still not good, but they at least have a LaFleur there. I think they'll be a professional organization this year.
He's been a wide receiver too. He's been a wide receiver too, though. And this is around
barely, yeah.
Wide receiver
touchdowns, but Marvin.
And this is a wide receiver 3 range, so this is about where I get him.
I'm shooting my shot on these third-year receivers over Jordan Tyson. I'm willing to miss out on Jordan Tyson if this offense explodes, which is what it's going to take. And I think the upside for Tyson is if Tyson's playing primary slot, Kellen Moore is probably the best at utilizing slot receivers in the NFL. I think him and Liam Cohen both are elite at that. We don't know. Like Chris Olave also excels in the slot. Devon Vele, the third receiver, is a slot merchant, a big slot. And they like to use Juwan Johnson in the slot. So
that's another guy. By the way, in the last round, everybody, if you don't get these Tyquan Thornton guys that Rob is drafting, another guy that you should think about drafting in the last round is Vele. if you believe in the New Orleans Saints offense and the Tyler Shuck experience, and you think these Saints players are good, and that Tyler Shuck is a thing, get Vele, because he's going to be an escape valve. Because the guy I believe, and I'm fading in the Saints offense, and the one that I'm not drafting, and I really hope he's not one of the players that you're mentioning. In fact, I'll keep my mouth shut until the end.
Last thought on Devon Vele mixed with Jordan Tyson is Vele does, I hate drafting receivers for handcuff because targets are earned, not like running backs where they just give touches. But Jordan Tyson never stayed healthy in any season during college. Like, I hate predicting injuries, and I'm not going to because I had Jordan Tyson as my number 2 receiver coming out of this class. I had Concepcion actually at 1. Is there a chance that he's just one of these guys that's just soft tissue after soft tissue and he misses 4 or 5 games? Like, that is the worry.
No, those injuries were freak, and they were different. I get it,
but there was a lot of them. There was the collarbone was freak, but there was a lot of soft tissue stuff. I know they weren't predictive injuries. They're not like chronic issues. I understand that. The bottom line is if you can't stay healthy in college, I have some concerns. I do have some concerns.
I know, but at the same time, he's not the only option. He doesn't need to be Superman here. But this is a Kellen Moore offense. He's going to be out there running. You know what? If you get soft tissue injuries, they're going to be definitely very stretched out as a New Orleans Saint because you're going to be running 72 plays. He's not going to be able to pull a hamstring because the hamstring is going to be so stretched out that the fibers will literally be like a slinky. So you can't pull a hamstring. If the hamstring is so flexible from running 78 plays a game and like 160 plays of practice, that you know what, you can't possibly pull a hamstring. Have you ever heard of a pulled hamstring in a Kellen Moore offense? No. Never hear that injury coming out of him, right?
No, that's a good call from Francis. Puka did have some issues with health in college, but Puka, if you watch Puka play, like, he's also a really tough dude, but Puka plays so hard. I'm not saying Jordan Tyson doesn't play hard. Jordan Tyson plays properly hard. Puka Nacua plays like Camp Scatabo at wide receiver. Like, he doesn't get down. He's blocking. Like, he is putting his nose in there all the time. That's the Puka problem. I don't think Puka's injury prone. I think Puka puts himself in a lot of situations. And also, Sean McVay doesn't do any favors giving him end arounds in the goal line, which we love for fantasy, but he's getting blasted by linebackers all the time. So, I'm not going to put the 1-to-1 comparison on those guys.
I think, honestly, I'm just going to say this straight away. I think Jordan Tyson's being drafted at his floor, guys. I think he's being drafted at his floor. I think this is base Jordan Tyson. And I think if he gives you production at the level that he's being drafted at, you'd be very happy with it, and you wouldn't feel gypped. You're drafting him at a wide receiver 3. You're getting a wide receiver 2.
Yeah. I love Tyler Shuck. I really loved him coming out of the draft. I loved his. I said he had the most arm talent of anyone in that class. It was a weak class, but did anyone think that Storey did actually? Storey called it on the hot takes. I was going back to some of our takes last year. He said that Drake May would have a better season than Jaden Daniels. That seemed blasphemous last year. You know what I mean? But Jaden Daniels, take the injuries aside, Jaden Daniels was bad last year, like pretty bad last year. And Tyler Shuck did not have the rookie year that Jaden Daniels had. He's not the player Jaden Daniels is. So, like, CJ Stroud has been pretty bad the last 2 years after an elite rookie season, like elite metrics-wise, elite eye test. So, like, would it surprise you guys if Tyler Shuck was just bad? It wouldn't surprise me because CJ Stroud is now bad, and no one thought that was coming. No one thought Jaden Daniels would be pretty bad in real life and for fantasy last year. So I still like Tyler Shuck. I like him as ADP based on the skill he has and the offense he plays in with the weapons he has and the coach. But we can't anoint guys after 1 year. We have to really stop doing that because people did it with Brian Thomas last year, dude.
You know what really makes me believe in Tyler Shuck more and more and more? Before Vegas projected other quarterbacks this year, they projected Tyler Shuck for, I think, the 5th most yards out of any quarterback.
That's the plays, though. That's the projecting. The Kellen Moore always runs top 5 plays. I think that helps. Unfortunately, Tyler Shuck's touchdown prop is 19.5. Really low. That's Jalen Hurts level.
Exactly. But you know what? That's true. But here's the thing. Zach Wilson being in that quarterback room, along with
I like Spencer
Rattler
man.
still.
I like Rattler.
I love Rattler. He throws the ball that way too. And I think, and I'm sorry, I think if Zach Wilson somehow got behind center with Kellen Moore, those weapons, ETN behind that O-line, behind that improved O-line, I think Zach Wilson's career would just be reformed. I think that would be
it. Cruz says Jordan Tyson comparable to Tat. No, Tat McMillan is a 6'5" boundary receiver. Jordan Tyson is, I think my comp was Keenan Allen for Jordan Tyson, but he moves. He has some movements. The fluidity in his game is Justin Jefferson-like. Like it really is. Now those are the high-end comps, right? These are high-end. If everything works out, Jordan Tyson is an elite route runner, elite wide
Jordan
receiver.
Tyson is Jordan Tyson is George Pickens with his head on straight.
Yeah, with a little bit more wiggle and a better feel for zone, right? Where like I think George Pickens struggles underneath against zone. Where like I think we saw, I know it's just in college,
with his head on straight.
A pretty advanced wide receiver coming out of college, especially even with the injuries. He missed some time, but he played a lot. He has experience in college, so I do like Jordan Tyson. I just don't like drafting guys that are. He's going to be the number 2 there. We know he's the number 2 there. Where like I know Marvin Harrison's the number 1. I know you could say Trey McBride's the 1, but they're going to throw the ball a lot.
Look at where
Brian Thomas should be the number 1, guys. Brian Thomas should be the number 1 in this offense. I like Jacoby Myers. Yes, I do. Steady, professional. I like Parker Washington as a slot guy, but Bretton Strange doesn't scare me off. Like Brian Thomas is by far the most talented guy in this receiver room, unless somehow Travis Hunter figures out how to play receiver and they actually play him at receiver, which is a lot of ifs. Brian Thomas is the most talented guy in that room.
Well, that's all dependent if Trevor Lawrence figures out how to play quarterback.
Francis, if Tyson's the X and Olave is the Z, I would be all about. This is what we don't know. This is the worry I have with Tyson and Olave. The value in Kellen Moore's offense is literally the slot. That whoever plays a slot is going to smash their ADP. They're probably going to be a top. Now, Tyson wouldn't be a top 10 wide receiver because Chris Olave is there. If Chris Olave is playing the slot and Tyson's playing X, I think Chris Olave could be a top 5 receiver in PPR. If it's the other way around, Tyson's a top 15 guy.
Yeah, no, but here's what I'm saying. Olave is going to smash. He's going to be insane because they're going to move Olave all around the formation, and Tyson is going to be like the Pickens type. They're putting him out there to be
they use Chris Olave like they use like they do in Cincinnati with Jamar Chase. That's the idea, right? If you can use them out, 30% outside, 30% inside, couple snaps out of the backfield. Now, I don't know. We just don't know. The thing is, it's why also would Kellen Moore reveal his hand, right? Because he has all these guys that are interchangeable.
Because he drafted Jordan Tyson instead of Mekhi Lemon. That was about as much reveal your hand as you could get, and then signing ETN. How much more reveal your hand can you get? You have literally the clone of Cincinnati's offense.
Well, that's my worry. If you're telling me
with Jordan 3 big boom arm quarterbacks,
if you're telling me Jordan Tyson's playing outside, I want.
Then you're getting, but then exactly, but then but then if you look at where you're drafting him right now, ADP value wise, you're drafting him at wide receiver 3. You're kind of getting a wide receiver 2, low end wide receiver 2, high end wide receiver 3. You're getting what you're paying
Tyson,
for.
Man, because, I told you, we did the show. I love Jordan Tyson, the prospect. And I do have high hopes for this offense. So maybe I'm a little low on Jordan
and with
Tyson.
all and think about it. All 3 of the quarterbacks that are on the roster, what's the one thing all 3 of them do?
Get open and they're fast.
Boom the ball deep down the freaking field like insane
the
people.
Quarterbacks. Yeah, they're all aggressive. Spencer Rattler might be the most aggressive of the bunch,
which is insane.
Not in a good way, though. Not in a good way.
Which is insane considering Zach Wilson's there.
Yeah, well, Zach Wilson also likes to throw the ball out of bounds like every 3 throws. He runs out of the pocket, just throws it fucking 30 rows deep. That's the Zach Wilson.
Well, all gas, no brakes, right?
100%. What's up, Jonathan? Done working on the car. What's up, fellas? How you doing, buddy? Thank you. We love Jonathan around here. Appreciate you. We got to go to our 6th. Is this our 6th? 7th.
Yeah.
7th tier here. Let's see.
Let's go.
Which one is it? It is not this one. Let's go with this one. Here we go. So we have running backs here. These are 4th to 5th round running backs here. We have Travion Henderson, David Montgomery, and Quinshawn Judkins. Before we do that, though, I have a little surprise for our boy. We love this guy. I wish I had him in. We'll talk about him because we're talking about Quinshawn Judkins.
I want to talk to Samson. Climb her to the moon like that bitch Alice Cram.
We all want to talk to Samson. That's the new.
Yes,
I think that's my new. We love this Tiny Dancer clip, but just Dave Chappelle screaming about.
I want to talk to Samson. Climb her to the moon like that bitch Alice Cram.
We love it. We love it.
Pay for it, so it's so nice you get it twice. Thank you for the supers, guys.
5 times. Thank you, Cruz. How you doing, Cruz? Cruz is ready to win some money on the bets this year. I know that. So
hell yeah. No, and we're giving you all the information you need. All the information you need. You see, now we're gonna a lot of these guys. You see, I'm picking players that I don't want because that's what the board is giving me. I can't I don't want to reach and just get screwed and then screw up my entire team because I can't risk. You see, this is why you say it's like I'm year 3 drafting, right? Versus you've been doing this best ball for how long?
5 years since day one, dude.
Exactly.
I think it's been 6 years, but I think I was the second year really heavy.
Okay, so this is this is a relatively new thing. So wow, I'm actually flattered that you said that. See, because I consider myself like a Sith apprentice to Lord and Master over here. Because
let me just phrase. I am not a Lord and Master of best ball. I make my coin on redraft. I'm learning best ball. I think I've gone fucking 3,000 of these things, so I should be a master, but. The idea is if you want to be a master, you can never admit you're a master. You need to admit what you don't know. And I'm still trying to figure out the tournaments. For sit and goes, I do great and always have because there's no build, there's no stacking involved. There's just best player available where there's more to it in these tournaments. Let's get to this three-way here. Travion Henderson, my boy. That's sarcastic if you guys can't see my face. David Montgomery and Quinshawn Judkins all going in the 5th round, I would say, end of the 4th, early 5th. I think Henderson's actually falling past this, but he was ranked higher to start the year. Mouth, give me your take on these guys.
Well, you see, now in this range, you see where he was starting, hell no, I wasn't touching him with a 10-foot pole wrapped in rubbers coated with battery acid. In this range, I would say in a vacuum, even though it's half PPR, I value touchdowns. I think Henderson's touchdowns will go up because despite the fact that he doesn't get the ball very much, he's very efficient with his touches. The Patriots O-line is getting better. I got to go Monty because he is dual threat. He will catch the football, and I think he's going to see 70% of the work. This is really hard. Good God, this is really hard, but I have to go Hendo because of just the pure touchdown potential. I got to take the upside of Henderson versus the steadiness of Judkins. But however, I'm only saying that because by here, I should have a RB1. If I don't have an RB1, then Hendo goes to 3, Judkins goes ahead of him. If I have an RB1, then it's Hendo. I would like the upside of Hendo. However, I really don't want to take Hendo. If I have 2 running backs by this point, then Hendo jumps ahead of Montgomery and Judkins to me. It really is all situational on that point with Henderson because it really depends where am I in my running back structure, my running back build? Like, am I trying to use Henderson as like the last hammer of a very heavy RB build to just like hammer it home that these are my pillar 3 running backs? Or like, it's kind of weird. So it's very hard to rank those 3.
Jay, we all know you have more Henderson than any other player because you love Hendy so much. We love you so much, Jay. Jay's the man. So I'm going to give you your percentages here. You have 4% David Montgomery. You have 8% Quinshon Judkins and 8% Hendy. So the guy you actually went first, you have the lowest ownership on. I'll give you my ownership. I have 18% Montgomery, 16% Judkins, and 2% Hendy. As you guys know, I put my money where my mouth is. And I have been drafting Hendy in DraftKings. I think on DraftKings I'm at 12% because it's full PPR. But
full PPR, I take Henderson over all of those.
I don't want to miss. I still take Monty. I still take Monty over Hendy, but I'm not.
And in full PPR,
Hendy in full PPR.
In full PPR, it's Henderson, Monty, and Monty goes ahead of certain backs in full PPR as well. People ought to remember David Montgomery's time in the Chicago Bears and David Montgomery's time as a Lion before Jahmyr Gibbs was added to the equation. Monty catches some passes. And in fact, I think he's got better hands than Jahmyr Gibbs.
I think it's close. Francis Henderson and Tootin are similar spike potential, but Stevenson will always get volume, and Chris Rodriguez will probably get the goal line work. And they like the problem with Jacksonville is it's going to be a 3-headed monster, a small 3-headed monster, but LaQuint Allen will be playing 10 or 12% of the snaps. That seems low, but that's 10 or 12% that is not given to the top 2 guys. Where at least with the Patriots, we have literally, I don't think Antonio Gibson's going to get the run he got last year. He's also coming off a major injury. I think he's just a depth piece and a return guy. So at least you have a 2-headed committee, which is fine. Almost every other team runs it. Even a team like the Lions with Pacheco this year, Pacheco is still going to get 30% guys. The problem is Henderson's ceiling is probably 60% of the snaps, even if he kind of takes the role.
Yeah, but I don't think he's taking the role from Stevenson. Stevenson is not giving it up. How many people have they tried to bring in to take the role from Ramondre and they haven't done it? Ramondre Stevenson has pretty much solidified himself as the RB1 there. Henderson
at least to start the year. At least to start the year.
Henderson hasn't been an RB1 since high school.
It's true. It's true. Now he's
before he could tell me.
Losing to some pretty good guys. Judkins was a monster in college. But it's not like he was sitting behind Bijan Robinson, right? Like Stevenson is not Bijan Robinson, clearly, and Judkins is not Bijan Robinson. The problem with Henderson is I just don't think he's a great football player. I know running back isn't that important. It's not like you're a wide receiver where you really have to have the knack and have the awareness and all the things. Like running back is a lot more athleticism. But Henderson just doesn't see the field. He misses blocks. The upside, though, is, and I know Mike Vrabel has stood by Stevenson a lot, and that's the kind of coach Mike Vrabel is. He's a motivator. He knows how to get the most of his players, and he stood by Stevenson when no one else would. Right? A lot of team like Bill Belichick would have cut that dude 3 fumbles before that, for sure.
Definitely.
But if Stevenson fumbles a couple times to start the year, and Henderson takes some leaps in the issues I was mentioning, then the upside with TreVeyon Henderson is an RB1. I'm not denying that. I'm just a what's most likely to happen kind of guy. And I think what's most likely to happen is a 50-50 share. And I think they trust Stevenson more in the pass game in terms of the blocking and receiving game, even though Henderson should be a better receiver because his juice. And I think they trust Stevenson on the goal line because he's 235 pounds. So we'll see. You know what? If this offense goes boom again like last year, I don't think it's going to matter. They're both going to smash their ADPs. Cruz wants to know why Bucky has fallen so low. He was a second-round pick last year. Well, he burned a lot of guys, which you know how the fantasy community does, is they write people off. It was the Sean Tucker involvement in the goal line. It was the lingering shoulder injury mixed with the mental health stuff. And Kenneth Gainwell was downright amazing last year. Kenneth Gainwell had 70-something receptions, 77 receptions, 73 receptions last year. That was with Aaron Rodgers, but still, the film was great with Gainwell last year. And Kenneth Gainwell is a really, really trusted player by coaching staffs because he's actually an underrated guy between the tackles. Bucky's a better running back than Kenneth Gainwell, for sure. Kenneth Gainwell is probably a better receiver. And the biggest problem is Sean Tucker. If Sean Tucker's getting half the goal line carries, and then you're splitting up the other 50% within Gainwell will get the receiving down work on a 3rd and goal from the 5. you're looking at like a 25 or 30% goal line share for Bucky Irving. And Baker is not afraid to run it in here and there. So it's like the point is Bucky's a value now. He has to be. I didn't want to touch him early on in the year.
Kenneth Gainwell is another example of why Nick Sirianni needs to be fired.
Yeah, didn't use him. Did not use him.
How the hell do you have that on your football team and he's just sitting on your freaking bench behind insert running back here? How is Gainwell on your freaking bench and he's not being used? How?
Yeah,
that just baffles the hell out of me. I've been just thinking about this for an entire year watching Kenneth Gainwell play for Pittsburgh, and it just baffles the hell out of me. Why has the Philadelphia organization watched Kenneth Gainwell and not looked at Sirianni and said, why the hell did we have to pay Saquon Barkley all this freaking money?
Got him a Super Bowl.
We had this. I know, but we had this sitting on the bench.
They liked Will Shipley too, which is just really weird.
Stupid. That's what that is. Stupid.
I love Monty as well, team money. I mean, the touchdown potential. His Vegas numbers aren't really that egregious. Like, I like the overs. It's 800 rushing yards, and it's 7.5 touchdown, which is pretty high for a fifth round.
Oh my God! Smashed. Oh my God! When I get paid, I'm going on DraftKings. I'm gonna hit overs on both of those.
Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers 875 is the easiest money in the history of the world. I mean, that is just they're giving you money with the Brock Bowers prop. And I also like Brian Thomas 700. I definitely prefer the Brock Bowers one, but 700 over 700.5 for Brian Thomas is.
If you're telling me that they're only giving me 800 rushing yards for David Montgomery.
Mm-hmm. They're all going to seem low, especially at the running back position, because if you bet over and the guy gets hurt, even 4 or 5 games, you lose the bet, essentially. That's why they put him so low. They want you to bet overs.
But Monty always gets hurt 4 or 5 games, and he still runs for 1,000 yards.
Yeah, and that was with Jahmyr Gibbs there. Francis, also the Patriots trust Henderson as a back picking up the blitz for May. Well, clearly they didn't last year in the playoffs when they gave him a 12% snap share. That was damning.
Well, Vrabel didn't teach him how to block because he was too busy blocking Rossini's husband.
Judkins has looked amazing, and this is, again, beat reports and stuff like that, but Judkins has looked amazing as a pass catcher. And we're big Dylan Sampson fans here, but Judkins is more than capable. He's not Derrick Henry out there. He's a more than capable pass catcher. Judkins can do it all. And I was really off Judkins last year, even before, the possible suspension and all that noise that happened in training camp. But I did not like Judkins, the prospect, that much. But I'm willing to take that back. I was watching the film last year. It was very inefficient, but that was a bad offensive line in a bad situation. Quinshon Judkins is a man. He is a fucking man back there, and you could give Quinshon Judkins 30 carries a game, and he gets better as the game goes on. He's got enough juice. I'm a big fan of Judkins.
Look, it's not Stefanski with Nick Chubb, who would never even give Nick Chubb a chance to catch a football out of the backfield, so we never knew if Nick Chubb had the ability to, because you had such a rigid coach. You're going to find out. We're going to find out what both of these backs can do now, because Todd Monken will find out if backs could do things, because Monken is going to mix and match and do things and put things together, because you know what? There is nobody on the Browns whose job is safe. And I think that's the best thing that Todd Monken has to work with right now, is the fact that there is absolutely no one on the Cleveland Browns who is untouchable at all. The fact that everybody has to just fall in line to him, that he has nobody that he has to service, nobody that he has to cow down to, that it's all his, that the last time the Cleveland Browns had a working offense was when he was in the fucking building. Remember that? That's the last time the Cleveland Browns made the playoffs was when Baker Mayfield was there, Odell Beckham was the number 1 receiver, and Todd Monken was calling the plays. Now Monken walks back in the building and says, "Hi, Remember, I only do this if I run the complete show.
I got the comps for you. Francis says Henderson reminds me of the guy that hits 200, but he can hit 40 bombs. Stevenson is a 280 hitter with 90 RBIs. I have some names for you. I was just thinking about this. Henderson comps. Chris Davis. Remember Chris Davis with the Orioles? That's Travian Henderson. Or Adam Dunn. Prime Adam Dunn, who would bat 220 but hit 50 home runs. That might be – Adam Dunn was pretty awesome. And then Stevenson is like a Paul Konerko, right? A steady 280. No, he hit a lot of home runs too, but not really 40 a lot. It was a lot of 32, 33. I think those are the comps if you want to transfer sports. Really nice comment there, Francis. That makes a lot of sense.
That's absolutely right. And you put those two back to back in the lineup. Make sure that Henderson is behind Stevenson. Bang.
Do you guys remember Chris Davis had he had a year, I think he had 57 homers and like 54. And he actually had a year where he batted like 270, but then he had the stretch of the Orioles where he was still hitting like 40 homers, but he was batting like 180. It was unbelievable, but he was still hit his 37 to 40 homers. And he was a decent on base guy where he'd have a 180 batting average, but his on base would be like 300, which is serviceable. But literally had years where he was, and then the power fell off and I think his last year was like a 190 batting average with like 16 homers. And then it was just over because if you're not making contact, you're not even getting on base, your home runs mean nothing.
That's right. But that's literally what the Patriots backfield is. And that's what Monty and Gibbs were. You start off the game with Monty and you bash the defense. You start off the game with a Stevenson and you bash the defense. You bash the D-line. You let Stevenson take those hits and take those hits and take those hits. And then what you do is you let your Jahmyr Gibbs or you let your Trevion Henderson or you let your RJ Harvey, for example, like what you did with J.K. Dobbins and RJ Harvey last year to a lesser extent. You let those guys get a hold of them at like the 40, the 30, the 20-yard line. Bang, one big play running in for the touchdown, gain 20 yards, get a big burst, explosive, halfback screen with one of those guys, run it right in. Sort of like a thunder and lightning combination. Then by the time we get to the third or fourth quarter, defense is so gassed after having to deal with the big boy. Then you send in Trevion. Then you send in Gibbs. Then you send in that. We are very much going back to old school 1990s run and shoot football. It's just got a very different label slapped onto it. Different plays, very similar concept.
Jay is still on the Henderson train. Henderson was RB1 as a freshman and filled up the stat sheet. I didn't know that. Blake, if you're in here, somebody, can you look up the stats for Henderson's rookie year or freshman year at Ohio State? And also, I love you, Jay. The kid is back on the escalator again.
That kid is back on the escalator again. Remarkable. That's criminal. That kid is back on the escalator again. Leave it alone. What?
Escalator. You know what, though? If Hendy becomes a running back one this year and Jay has all these shares of him in best ball, I'm sure we'll have a lot of shares in redraft. Jay, you have my permission to come on this stream every day. And the first thing you say, you know how Blake says woo and Mark said let's get it. You can just say Travion Henderson for president every time. And I will read the comments and I will endorse it because I will admit when I'm wrong on things.
No, do you know what's going to happen? You know what's going to happen? Jay's going to fly to you. He's going to fly to your house and he's going to fly to my house. He's going to slap us with the piles of money that he's won on these best ball tournaments because he's going to have like hundreds of thousands of dollars where you just go, and then he's going to start his own. He's going to buy the Fanatics channel away from you. He's going to buy Downtown Sports away from me. And, he's just going to be the man. He's going to own the both of us.
Francis, RJ Harvey is going to be so good this year if he's healthy. Well, that kind of brings us to our next group of guys here. We'll wait for the quarterbacks last since the comment is here for RJ Harvey. I know you're kind of a Harvey guy. You took him in the Dynasty League. I am not so much. Storey hates him. Storey always refers to his 3.3 yards per carry. Let me see if I could find this one. This is down the list. We have two more to go here. This is not it. It is this one right here. So we have RJ Harvey, Kyle Monangai, and Blake Corum.
That's not fair. That's not fair.
Pretty close here. So we have RJ Harvey's fallen here, And they're all around 8th round picks here. I think RJ Harvey might be the first one off the board typically, but these guys are close. Monungai and Corum are always back to back in the 8th round, sometimes bleeding in the 9th round. So, Mouth, give me your take, man. Who are you choosing? Give me the order, and I'll give you your ownership.
Well, in a vacuum, in an absolute vacuum, it's Corum, Harvey, Monungai. However, because of in an absolute vacuum, it's Corum, Harvey, Monungai.
Corum, Harvey, and Monungai. So your ownership is 12% Corum, 12% Harvey, and 2% Monungai. So you are actually, look at you. You're on board here. I'm going to give you my ownership here. I have 5% Harvey. I have 14% Monungai, and I have 31% Corum. 31% Corum. I am obviously very, very high in Blake Corum, and it's for a couple of reasons. I think Blake Corum's going to get to 180 to 200 touches when both guys healthy this year, just because they're going to be blowing teams out. Their defense is better. They want Kyron Williams to the playoffs. We saw this at the end of last year to save him. I think it's going to be more of a 50-50 split than people think. In these big underdog tournaments, the way you could win is if Kyron Williams gets hurt, Blake Corum is going to be on almost every single championship team because Blake Corum is a top 5 running back. Jarquez Hunter is done. He didn't see the field as a rookie. They don't like him. Now, he would maybe see the field a little bit, but Blake Corum would be getting what we saw from Kyron Williams his first 2 years in a better offense, and I think Blake Corum's a better running back, at least a better runner than Kyron Williams. That's why I'm super high on Blake Corum, but I love Kyle Monungai. I think Kyle Monungai has a higher floor than Corum, because I think there's a chance that he actually can not take the job from DeAndre Swift, but make it
way.
55-45.
I don't think he has a higher floor than Corum. No way.
Dude, the Bears
they're not.
Ben Johnson always produces top 5 rushing attacks.
They're not throwing it to Kyle Monungai though. That's the thing. They're gonna throw it to Blake Corum. They've thrown it to Blake Corum. Blake Corum has better hands than Kyron Williams. That's well known in Blake Corum's profile coming out of college in comparison to Kyron Williams. That's why they got him. I think there's a damn good chance Blake Corum could take the job. I think you have a better chance of Blake Corum taking the job away.
He's not taking the job, dude. They love Kyron Williams. He's a coach's pet. He's a way better pass blocker. Not saying Corum's bad at pass blocking or receiving, but he's just better at those two things. And they're going to value that.
Kyle Monungai is not better than DeAndre Swift.
No, but DeAndre Swift, dude, no coach ever loves DeAndre Swift. Look at his history, dude. He got ran out of Detroit. They ran him out of Philly. And now he lost touches to a 7th round rookie in Kyle Monungai last year. And Kyle Monungai played pretty damn good, man.
I get it, but call me crazy. I think talent, as much as they love Kyron, coach's pet, all of that, talent eventually wins. And the Rams are trying to win a Super Bowl.
Jonathan says Jarvis Landry was the Browns' #1 wide receiver in 2019 with Monken at OC, not Odell. Yeah, the Odell Browns thing was weird. Hashtag juice. Harvey is do water. I put an extra couple doo water. He 3.3 yards a carry last year. I think Harvey is an elite receiver. In space, RJ Harvey's elite. Unfortunately, getting to the space as a runner in terms of carries is not smooth. And I think he has some of the same problems TreVeyon Henderson has, right? Now, they could both be cleaned up. I like RJ Harvey as a player more than TreVeyon Henderson in terms of, being pro-ready. But TreVeyon Henderson has way more juice than what RJ Harvey has.
I mean, the reason I took RJ Harvey in Dynasty was not because I thought RJ Harvey was going to be a today asset. I took him because I thought he was an asset for the future, and also possibly running back that I could put in as a backup when somebody good had a bye, or if CMC got hurt, he catches passes, and also the touchdown profile, receiving touchdown profile of RJ Harvey was insane last year. If he could somehow replicate that, then I win the league. It's if at least one of my upside things hit for that, whatever. And also, 2019 was with Jarvis Landry. Got it. cool.
Well, yeah, Jarvis Landry was a fucking PPR monster. Some of the best hands in the NFL we've seen. Francis says Rams will run Williams into the ground and let him walk just to promote Corum next year. They signed him to a 3-year deal. So they could probably get out of the contract this year, I think is what you're saying, Francis. I think that I don't know. I went back and I watched every touch from Blake Corum last year, and I watched every touch from Kyren Williams because I wanted to, when I was doing this list, I looked at my 31% of Blake Corum. I was like, am I sure Blake Corum's good? And also I want to go back and watch Kyren Williams film. And I was right, at least from my perspective. Blake Corum was the more explosive runner. When I see, and they're pretty similar builds. Blake Corum's a little thicker, but they're both smaller dudes. Blake Corum hitting the hole is wild. He is shot out of a cannon. Kyren Williams is just not. He's just not. Kyren Williams is actually a little bit of sturdier running back. Like, he actually breaks more tackles than Blake Corum. But Blake Corum does not have breakaway speed, but he has that, the hitting the hole speed and then like accelerating 5 to 10 yards downfield. He has that juice. So I just love Blake Corum, and I've never been a Kyren guy. I think he's lived on volume and touchdowns. And now that the rushing touchdown number has gone down because they throw the ball to Devontae Adams every single time they're on the 3-yard line, which I don't think that's going to continue. I think this running back room is going to have a lot more touchdowns as a whole. We'll see who gets them.
Yeah. To be honest with you, the second you take away the ball from Kyren Williams inside the 5, he's not worth where he's going.
Yeah, because he's more of a floor play. Cruz says, I want the Wildcat to make a return. Well, you know what? We were talking about Quinshon Judkins earlier. It made a return last year because they were giving him a lot of Wildcat snaps in the goal line, and he had 2 or 3 rushing touchdowns from the Wildcat with Dylan Sampson in the backfield. So that's also a nice plus for Dylan Sampson to get some. No, he's not always going to get the touch there. He's going to be in the field more.
Tyler Warren, Eli Stowers, get ready.
That was also, I think, them not wanting. They didn't want Shedeur Sanders or Dylan Gabriel on the field on the 4-yard line. They're like, how do we take this guy off the field because they're going to throw a pick? Shedeur will take a 15-yard sack, and Dylan Gabriel will just throw the ball out of bounds. So that was probably why, and I think it'll be better this year with year 2 of Shedeur and/or Deshaun Watson.
They really seem to believe in Deshaun Watson, which is pure stupidity.
All right. Francis said, I think Tate is being slept on. I'm smashing the fuck out of him. What do you think about Carnell Tate? I think I was not a big Carnell Tate fan as a prospect. I feel like he went way too high in the draft. Same pick as Marvin Harrison. I think he's very pro ready though. And I think this is a perfect landing spot. I love the marriage with Cam Ward. Cam Ward is an aggressive passer. Carnell Tate's a big body dude who's not the best at contested catches, but very good downfield. Wide receiver 30-ish is pretty fair. I see Tate as more of a floor play than an upside play because Cam Ward, as much as I love him, I think he still has some growing pains to do. And I think Wan'Dale Robinson's his safety blanket.
I think Carnell Tate is the number 3 receiver in his offense, and people need to really pay attention to the fact of who is the offensive coordinator. That is Brian Daboll. Brian Daboll has a love affair with Wan'Dale Robinson. Wan'Dale Robinson will be operating in the slot. And until you tell me different, Ridley is going to be the starting X receiver. So where is Tate going to go?
No. I am very. What do you give me your season long snap share for Carnell Tate? What do you think it's going to be?
70.
Oh, I'm thinking 92%. Carnell Tate's not leaving the field, man. You took him 4th overall. So that's our disconnect there. And again, I'm not a Carnell Tate guy, but I love the way he develop. No.
Well, he has to develop
already. Nope. I don't think so. As much as I don't think Carnell Tate's good, at least I don't think he was worthy for a top 5 pick. I had him in the 2nd round personally. He's not a Quentin Johnston. Quentin Johnston was always really raw.
He still has to beat out Ridley, who's signed to pretty decent money.
He is better than Calvin Ridley right now. Calvin Ridley is not saying he's washed. I have more faith in Calvin Ridley than a Jerry Jeudy. But I think Calvin Ridley's a 70% player. I think that Wan'Dale's an 80% player because it's slot stuff. And it's 90% Carnell Tate. Here's the problem with Carnell Tate. He has some vibes of the sacrificial X receiver that's just out there running, kind of how they used George Pickens in Pittsburgh when he was young. That's the worry.
And do you think they start moving Ridley around the formation?
Correct. And you're going to ask Carnell Tate to do something he's never done in his when I say his professional career, I'm calling Ohio State professional because they're the highest, point of college football. He's had Jeremiah Smith next to him, right? he's had all those other elite Ohio State receivers next to him. Now he doesn't really have that. Wandale is not a guy that's going to take attention from the defense. No one respects Calvin Ridley, so he's going to get the number one corner. He's going to get some shadow coverage over the top. So that's my concern. But snap share, targets, not really a concern. I just think he's more of a floor play. I think he's going to have 60 to 70, maybe 75 catches. I think he's going to have 900 yards. I think he's going to have 5 or 6 touchdowns. I think it's a good year.
Yeah.
Where you're drafting him.
Yeah, okay. So, but, I think Wandale is definitely going to have a better season than that. Being the slot receiver and working with the OC already, because he's not going to be paid attention to. I think if you're going to be moving Ridley around the slot like you would have moving Ridley all around the field like you would a CD Lamb, I think Cam Ward is going to be targeting him all day. If he's not going to be getting the number one corner, then Calvin Ridley is just going to go off for an over 1,000-yard season. So, again, where am I wrong in saying that that Tate is going to be the number 3 receiver? Who exactly is running the ball in Tennessee?
Here's what I'll say. Being the third option, I don't think so. Maybe on a per route basis for targets, yes. And then Jonathan says, brother, no one drafts a wide receiver in the top 5 not to use them. Well, the Cardinals did that with Marvin Harrison.
It's not that they're not using him. The point is, it's not that they're not using him or not attempting to use him. It's that it's going to end up being forced to look that way.
I'm just telling you,
that makes more sense.
Marvin Harrison.
That makes more sense, Jonathan. That makes more sense.
But we did just see this with Marvin Harrison, was drafted 4th overall, and they didn't really use him. They did not, and partially because Marvin Harrison was out there going through the motions. And I know Carnell Tate's a really good kid. I don't think he's a lazy player. I don't think there's body language issues. So there's some upside there. I think at ADP it's fair. But I would say, what do you think the chances are? There's got to be some chance because Carnell Tate is a good talent, and we like Cam Ward. Chances that Carnell Tate's a wide receiver 1 this year in fantasy. Give me a percentage chance.
Less than 10%.
I was going to put it at 10%. I think that's fair with talent, and it's going to be tied to Cam Ward having not an all-time year, but Cam Ward needs to throw 30 touchdowns. He needs to throw 4,000 yards. I think that's the issue too. Even though I'd like Brian Daboll as a coordinator and I like Cam Ward as a prospect,
it's going to be tied.
It's still in the realm of possibilities.
It's also going to be tied to the other receivers having success when all of the defensive coverage is going to be put onto Carnell Tate. That's the thing. It's going to be tied to the success of the other pieces in the offense. Can Ridley go back to being productive with number 2 and number 3 corners on him? Can Wandale produce the same quality of work that he did with Jackson Dart, with what conceivably is an upgrade at quarterback, and can he produce another 1,000-yard season as a slot receiver in a supposedly better offense? It depends on the work of the people around Tate. If Tate's teammates could draw people off of Tate, then yes. If not,
agreed. Key says you have to love Quorum if you want to be a member here. We are the Quorum channel, and I still do like Kyron Williams. I think they both could be values this year. I just like I don't.
I'm sorry. I've been a Kyron Williams doubter. I don't like Kyron Williams. I think the only thing that Kyron Williams has that's going for him is the fact that he has the absolute correct attitude to be a good teammate, works hard, does everything right as an NFL player, and has enough talent that his work ethic shines through. He is the perfect example of what hard work does if you have a dream. That is the value of Kyron Williams. Unfortunately, his talent level does not speak up to his work ethic level, in my opinion.
Jonathan's in here hyping up Gunnar Helm. I kind of like Gunnar Helm. I liked him out of Texas.
Yeah, he's good.
But I think Jonathan has him in Dynasty. So it's just funny. We're talking about Tate, and then you just have Jonathan at the bottom just talking about Gunnar Helm.
Gunnar Helm is good. Gunnar Helm is good. He's another one that's got to hold up for Tennessee. Like Carnell Tate's success, more than any of these other rookies, really depends on the success of his teammates, because he's going in there to be the man.
What's up, Keith, by the way? Shout out to Keith, a fanatic in the Patreon. We love you, Keith. Hopefully you get your gear here on Thursday. He's getting a hat. He's getting a shirt. Also, Keith is going to come on one of these nights and draft some best ball with us. Looking forward to having you on the show, buddy. He sent me a picture. He said he's even going to comb his hair, and he's bald, which is a funny joke. And if you can't make fun of yourself, then obviously I don't think you're watching the show because we make fun of ourselves. We make fun of everyone. All in good fun, though. Good fun.
All in good fun.
What's up, Caden? How you doing, buddy? Jonathan says, what's scary for Harvey is they drafted someone that catches just as good and runs in between the tackles better and pass blocks. And they love J.K. Dobbins. J.K. Dobbins was pretty good last year before the injury. That's just a messy situation. A potential three-headed monster with Sean Payton who literally makes – Jonah Coleman is bad, but they drafted him for a reason, and Sean Payton's going to try to make that work. We'll see how early Jonah Coleman mixes in. If Jonah Coleman plays even 12% of the snaps week one, this is a red alert for everyone there because he will get worked in more. If he's inactive on game day or he's essentially getting used on special teams or just sitting there with his helmet off, I'm not worried. I think both these guys will return value. Is it Harvey and Dobbins?
I think it's Harvey and Dobbins show. You're not seeing Jonah Coleman.
I hope so for fantasy purposes, so we can get some value out of this backfield. Team Money, Zach Charbonnet is a good steal in drafts. With all the positive health news where they were originally talking week 10, week 12, and sometime this season, it appears he might play from day one, and he wouldn't be startable then, but he could work his way into shape. By week 5, you could have yourself. I think I'm not a price guy at all.
I'm scared of that.
Charbonnet is a starter.
I am scared of that. I am scared of that, scared of that, scared of that. Do you know what
it was
that
an
means?
ACL, though, right? Francis has an Achilles. I think it was an ACL for Charbonnet. It was not an Achilles. ACL.
Right. So that's just the ligament. That's the knee joint of that ligament. It's not the ankle part of that joint, thank God. So that's a much easier recovery time.
Sean says, will the Lions running backs be even better with Gibbs and Pacheco or about the same? It'll be worse. With the answer, Pacheco, I've been drafting him in best ball. I like him as a handcuff. He was pretty good before the shin injury, but he's not David Montgomery. David Montgomery is an elite short yardage back. He's also a pretty good pass catcher, and Dan Campbell loved him. Isaiah Pacheco is, would you say 70% of David Montgomery?
Pacheco is a pass catcher.
He's okay.
Here's the thing.
He's a catch and fall down guy, though. Yeah,
no.
Look at his yards per catch, bro. It's awful. Awful.
That was his that a lot of that had to do with his play coming back after the shin injury and
no, I'm talking his yards per catch before the injury. It's awful.
Really?
Oh my God! Literally, he is the Jake Ferguson of running backs in terms of his yards per route run and yards per catch. I like him. This is awesome for Jahmyr Gibbs though, because we saw Jahmyr Gibbs for that 3-game stretch in 2024 to end the year when he was getting 26 touches a game. He was the running back one by so goddamn far over everyone else. And Bijan, I'm a Gibbs over Bijan guy, but it's close. I would not begrudge you for taking Bijan number 1. I think he's safer, less injury risk, and better in PPR. Gibbs in half PPR makes sense. He's going to get so many goal line carries.
Well, bang, zoom, Jahmyr Gibbs to the moon then, guys. Rob? I have been corrected. Thank you.
Yeah, and I like Pacheco. I think he is the guy if there's an injury, and I think Pacheco, with what we saw with Montgomery, past history will kind of predict future history, and they can't give Gibbs 27 touches a game all year. It just won't happen. He'll break. Pacheco will be relevant. He will be that perfect blend of handcuff and playable RB3, RB4 range, right? Where he gets 7 to 9 touches a game. Maybe
he's going to be like your nice 10 point a game and half PPR Tyler Algier type.
Now, you know who would be a great compliment to Jahmyr Gibbs? Mr. Braylon Allen. So David says Braylon Allen needs to be unleashed. Braylon Allen as a Jahmyr Gibbs number 2, with Dan Campbell, that would suck for Jahmyr Gibbs because Braylon Allen would get a lot more goal line work than what we perceive it will be like for Isaiah Pacheco. But I've loved Braylon Allen since Wisconsin. The guy's a man amongst boys. Guys, Braylon Allen's freshman year at Wisconsin, he was 17 years old. He went to school early. He had 100 yards rushing in the Big Ten at 17 years old. That's all you need to know about Braylon Allen. He's had injuries and also been on the Jets. It's not been good for him. He hasn't actually been that good as a pro, but I love the talent of Braylon Allen.
Braylon Allen is 21 years old. 22 years old.
But it's just he's going into his third year.
He's a freak of a human being. He's a developmental player still. He is, maybe the third running back at this point still. The Jets are not relying on him even this year. Hell, maybe not even next year. Everybody wants Braylon Allen to be this big deal. They don't expect him to be a big deal right now. It's Breece Hall's show. It's Isaiah Davis's show on third down. They don't need Braylon Allen to be a big deal right now. They need him to be a big deal when the next quarterback comes in and it's time for whatever new regime of quarterback, whoever they get in 27 to take over the team, because it's not going to be Cade Klubnik.
Pacheco definitely runs with attitude. He's also angry at the ground. It's typewriter steps. It's crazy. I love watching Isaiah Pacheco play football. David thinks Alec Iomanner still has a chance. I liked Iomanner's film. I liked him coming out of college as well. He's a big body, true X receiver. He's essentially a security blanket for if Carnell Tate gets hurt. But Carnell Tate is not a guy that gets hurt. He's a Justin Jefferson level player that's going to stay healthy essentially every year. From what I see,
that's what I'm saying. Everybody who thinks Carnell Tate just has this instant lock on a 90% field share is ridiculous.
No, he'll get 90%. He will.
I don't think so. I don't see that happening. Brian Daboll is not a guy who's just going to let a rookie go out there.
McCall, you must have seen something
not
crazy.
The Giants.
He said that CeeDee Lamb was at 975 at minus 140, and now it's at 1225. You know what? This is why prop bets are the way to go, and this is a season-long prop, but they do make mistakes in the prop market, and that must have been a mistake that you saw. I'm not saying it didn't exist. I'm saying that when they saw it was up there and it got smashed by probably 100 or 200 people with big money, they changed it, which is a giant change. It's literally 250 yards you're talking about. CeeDee Lamb should be at 1,200 yards. That's the caliber receiver he is, tied to Dak Prescott.
Yeah,
all day.
Pickens should be at 975, not CeeDee Lamb. But, however, at 1225, I would be hitting the under.
I just wouldn't touch it, I suppose. I only like to do ones that I'm very sure of, and I think that's a pretty sharp line right there.
Under. Lamb ain't getting more than 1,100 with Pickens out there with him. They'll score touchdowns.
27% target share for Carnell Tate. That's pretty aggressive, but I wouldn't. I think it's a possibility. He would definitely meet his ADP if that's the case. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, he'd definitely meet his ADP. If that's the case, that's the thing. If that's the case, that's why I like Jordan Tyson's ADP a lot more than I like Carnell Tate's ADP. I'd rather draft Jordan Tyson at his ADP because for him to meet his ADP, he only has to be 13-14% target share guy versus Carnell Tate having to be a 25% target share guy.
No, Tyson would have to be at 19%, right around league average for a 2. But I think we trust the Saints offense more than we trust the Titans offense. And I think Carnell Tate has higher upside because he is the one. If it does boom, he's the number one. But I think that Tyson's going to have a much softer NFL landing spot. I mean, you got Chris Olave, who's a pro next to him. You have Kellen Moore, who's going to scheme it open. And I think Tyler Shuck, I think Cam Ward has higher ultimate upside than Tyler Shuck based on the fact he was the number 1 overall pick in the draft and what he did in Miami. But Tyler Shuck,
bigger than Shuck.
As of right now, I think they're both similar quarterbacks, right? I think Tyler Shuck might be a little better right now, even than Cam Ward.
Similar. I think Shuck had better people around him.
Team Money, we chatted about this earlier, the Kyle Pitts thing. We like it, the security. There was always the risk that he was A, going to play on the franchise tag, or B, they were going to move him before the season. And that could have been a good move or a bad move. It went to the Chiefs, it would have been a bad move because he'd be playing alongside Travis Kelce, and Travis Kelce is going to eat up those touchdowns. But we like it. I think we're more comfortable. We've been drafting Kyle Pitts at a definitely above average clip already, and his ADP is definitely going to move up.
Yeah, once his ADP moves up, I'm gonna like it less. But you can't have good things forever. Sam Laporta was at the similar ADP to Kyle Pitts, and then he started moving up, and I started drafting him less and drafting Pitts more. You can't have great things forever.
Speaking of great things, we have one more group to talk about at quarterback here. Let's get to our last group here. And we have Drake May, Jaden Daniels, and Caleb Williams. This is part of this quarterback class here, this quarterback grouping that goes in the 6th/7th round with, Jalen Hurts and Joe Burrow. It's like these 5 guys. I picked these 3 because a lot of times I see them going back to back to back. And I'm going to give you the floor. Give me your order. You want these guys. Take away stacking. And who's more stackable? I just want to go in a vacuum. This is almost more of a redraft situation. 4 for a passing touchdown, just like Underdog. Who do you want, and who do you want, and why?
I want.
It's tough. It's a tough one.
It is.
Because they're all, depending on the league, they go in different orders, but they all go within like the same round for sure. Usually 6 or 7 picks, these guys will all come off in a row.
Yeah, because I play in a 14-team half PPR. I'm going to say if this were my league, I'd want Drake May, then Caleb, then Jaden Daniels. Because I just don't trust
your
Jaden Daniels
ownership says you have 4% Drake May, you have 16% Caleb, and you have 12% Jaden Daniels. So you want Caleb Williams, and then you want Jaden Daniels, and then you want Drake May. I'll give you my ownership. I have 4%.
Just like real life, I want what I can't have.
I have 4% Drake May, 8% Caleb, and 11% Jaden Daniels. In these best ball drafts, I go aggressive. I feel like we just saw Jaden Daniels have that fantasy MVP kind of season from a quarterback. And I think he's the riskiest of all these guys just based on his health. And I don't think his injuries are predictive, right? They were fluky injuries, and Dan Quinn is an idiot. Let's put my Dan Quinn hat on here for a second. But Jaden Daniels is slight. He is, he plays like Lamar, but Lamar is smarter as a rusher than he is. Daniels takes some hits, man, and also his coach is a moron. So for me, they're all in. I think I need to be a little higher on Drake May, but I think we both agree. You want Caleb, I want Daniels. We have May the lowest. That's schedule. Now the thing is, we do have A.J. Brown there, which is super nice, but I have these guys all really close. I'm surprised I'm that much lower on Drake May.
I am too, but I guess the reason I guess it's because I could stack those 2 easier. I guess it's because the way I was picking players around them, I didn't like the resources that went with Drake May. But in redraft, it makes more sense to have a Drake May than it does to have a Jaden Daniels who gets hurt, or to be honest, the more I think about it, the more I prefer Caleb over Drake May. It's just, it's just where they get drafted is honestly, it makes more sense to get Caleb. Caleb Williams just makes more sense.
Jaden Daniels rushing could be it could 1,000-yard rushers potential. He had 800 as a rookie. I mean, he could have 1,000.
Honestly, if they would just let Jaden Daniels throw the football and just let him boom the football for a couple of drives and then let him unleash the run, he'd be unstoppable. But they always try to make him run the football immediately. They unleash that too early. Hopefully that changes with new play callers coming in. That's the only thing.
Says Rob's Jaden Daniels percentage is boosted by his love of Scary Terry, and that's one of these things. These exercises we're doing is like, yes, in best ball, I am drafting Jaden Daniels probably more than Drake May because I always have Terry McLaurin, and I am stacking him. So it probably, and I do have Jaden Daniels the highest just because I want to play aggressive. I think Jaden Daniels has. I know it's crazy to say because Drake May just had that awesome year last year. And then Caleb is the ascending guy of this group. And I know it's, again, crazy to say with Drake May what he did last year. I think Drake May is going to regress next year, and that's not even a hot take, is what he did last year with the touchdown rate. And just his deep ball efficiency was as good, if not better, than Jaden Daniels as a rookie. We have a comment here from McCall of saying Jaden Daniels' sloppy Joe made elbow worries me too much. That was not his throwing elbow, though. That was his left elbow. That's why I'm not as worried about. If it was his throwing elbow, 100%, we got to be really worried about Jaden Daniels. But it was not his throwing elbow. His knee injury wasn't major. He's going to come back fully healthy. The question is, can he stay healthy? Can he
McAuliffe.
Not even missing games. Can he stay healthy and be 100% playing?
Hey, McAuliffe, I got one for you. I think Drake May and Caleb Williams should be swapping ADPs. The more I think about it, like, if you're going to force me gun to my head, who do I want now? Like, because now that you're really making me think about this, Caleb. I want Caleb over Drake May. Truthfully, I think Caleb Williams is going to have a better season. He's got a better offense, better O-line. They reinforced that tight end position. I think Cole Kmet's getting out of here. 12 personnel with Roush and Loveland is going to be sick.
McCall, if I don't get this Helani 9% redraft leagues, and you know what it is? Because a lot of these leagues were drafted really early before the Price signing, I'm guessing. And Helani was in line for a more, if it was just Emmanuel Wilson, I get that. Now with Price and with the Charbonnet news, Helani should not be owned anywhere or drafted anywhere, as much as I like George Helani. Francis says Caleb's last touchdown sold me. All the clutch stuff last year, and it's also not just him. The eye test is great. All he needs to clean up is the easy stuff, which he should be able to do, and Ben Johnson will coach that into him. But he's tied to Ben Johnson. Now, losing DJ Moore is not awesome for him, but you have Loveland, you have Burden, who is apparently Antonio Brown, wink, wink. And then you have Roma Dunze. So you have weapons, you have good backs, like you have nice backup tight ends, like you said. Like Cole Kmet's a fine, serviceable tight end if something happens to Colson Loveland. And I trust in Ben Johnson. I like all these guys, man.
Yeah, like I said, I think Cole Kmet's on his way out, and Roush is going to be the tight end too. You don't draft a guy like Sam Roush in round 3 if you plan on keeping Cole Kmet around. I think Kmet's on his way out. Tell me if I'm wrong, Rob. You're there.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
That
with
team?
The Sam Roush pick was the writing on the wall. They're going to keep him this year because they need him, and then next year Cole Kmet is gone, and then it'll be Sam Roush. Fancy Dog, shout out Fancy Dog, newest Patreon, bro. Love you, man. Daniels has a great playoff schedule, no vacuum. He does, and I don't like to look too far ahead. I only look at it if it's glaringly good or glaringly bad. Like if you're facing, like for instance, if someone faces Seahawks and the Texans, like I am going to kind of factor that in my rankings. If someone plays the Cardinals and, the Cardinals and the Jets or something, like I'm going to put that up a little bit. So, I
mean, players are going to play though. I mean, I would only really care about that once you're getting into wide receiver 2s, wide receiver 3 range players. Your superstar NFL players are still going to get their numbers. They're still going to get their touchdowns. They're still going to get their catches, their yards. Unless you're talking about there's an elite type corner on the guy, then it doesn't necessarily matter what defense they're playing against. Nico Collins is going to eat. It doesn't matter. CeeDee Lamb going to eat. It don't matter. Jamar Chase going to eat. It don't matter. Rank. Don't worry about elite and playoff defenses when it comes to your Puka Nakuas and all that. Worry about that when it comes to your Josh Downs. Yeah.
Right.
Worry about that when it comes to your Josh Downs. Worry about that when it comes to your Blake Corums or your RB2s and your RB3s.
And these playoff, and when we're looking at, let's say it's week 8 during the season, shit changes so much from week 8 to week 14, week 15. We're not even in June yet. So who knows what's going to happen, but it is a nice talking point for sure. Caleb Williams on the Madden cover though, he's going to get hurt. Says Cruz.
He's protected by the power of the rainbow.
Caleb Williams also has never been hurt. I don't think he's ever missed a game his entire career, going back to USC or even high school.
Look at his nails. He's protected by the power of the rainbow. That will overpower the Madden curse. Everything is fine.
Jordan JD, Pope. What's going on, dude? How you doing, buddy? We have Jay Hendy, freshman year, 1,600 scrimmage yards and 19 touchdowns. Well, there's only one thing I can say to that.
That kid is back on the escalator again. Remarkable. That's criminal. That kid is back on the escalator again. Leave it alone. What?
Look, Jay's just happy that you're calling him young.
Oh, yeah, that kid. 100%. By the way, Fantasy Dog is now the official senior member here. And Jay is now not the young gun. Clearly, Jay, you're not a young gun. Do love you, by the way. He is the second oldest guy. You know what? I love all age. We want all colors, all ages, all everything, races. Like, we want just good people in here. And I think we have a great group of people.
So I have a question.
I appreciate all you guys.
Is Jay the grandpa on our mom's side or on our father's side, and is Fantasy Dog our grandpa on our father's side or our mother's side? Which one?
You know what I'm gonna say? I think they're both my brothers. I think we're all brothers, right? And
that makes sense.
That's the idea here. This, sometimes brothers are just all different ages.
That's true.
All right, that is the show, guys. Well, you know what? We hit the goal, so we're going to hop over and do an underdog draft. I have to start a new stream, though. So we're going to hop over and do a draft.
Hold on, underdog.
Give me a little bit of time to hit the...
I can't do UD, though.
Why not? Oh, nothing on there?
None on there. I don't get paid till tomorrow.
What do you guys want to do in the chat? Let me know. Do you guys want to do DraftKings?
DraftKings or underdog? I'm better off with DraftKings, guys. So pick DraftKings.
Yeah,
so although it's your supers.
Who's gonna draft with us?
Your
Who's gonna draft with us?
So
yeah, whatever the most votes gets, we're gonna do. So put your votes in now. We have a couple minutes, and then we're gonna hop over to whatever you guys want to do and draft together. David says DraftKings.
For you.
DraftKings.
One vote for DraftKings. All right. So
Fantasy Dog DraftKings. We have 2 DraftKings votes.
Okay, 2 DraftKings. Cool. Thank you guys for the supers. We really appreciate them.
Derek says
by the
underdog.
way, Derek wants underdog. So 2-1.
We'll get it in here.
Come on, get your votes in, guys.
Francis says I've not done DraftKings in a while. It sounds fun. I'm thinking Francis is in for DraftKings. It sounds like a DraftKings.
That's
3 for DraftKings.
3-1 DraftKings.
3-1.
3-1.
Going. I'm gonna play a clip here while you guys get your votes in, and we'll see.
I brought a little bottle of spermicidal lube too.
And 1 little bottle of spermicidal lube?
Yeah, 1 little bottle of spermicidal lube.
Evan, that's psycho shit, man.
It's not.
It's like Charles Manson shit. What do you think, Becca's gonna be psyched that you brought a bottle of lube? Oh, Evan, thank you for bringing that lube for my pussy. I never would have been able to handle your fucking 4-inch dick inside my pussy without that gigantic bottle of lube.
Francis might be cashed out on DraftKings. So, Francis, are you changing your vote to underdog? I want to make sure if you're voting, vote for something you can do. Give me your votes. We have, so Francis is undecided. We have Derek on underdog. We have 2 votes for DraftKings and 1 for underdog. So we have 2 minutes left to vote. 2 minutes left to vote. We're going to hop over. I just got to know what stream to make it for with the thumbnail and title. I'm going to go to the bathroom and let my 2 furry friends out real quick, and we'll schedule it for like 1:10 p.m. Central. Anyways, before we get to that, Mouth, hell of a show. AM, yeah, hell of a show, as always. Really good segments and some really good knowledge, and I think we learned a lot as well. That's one of the reasons I love this show, and that's why I did it for so many years for free, just with my buddies, because have smart people on the show. You learn things. I learn things. Fantasy Dog can't do DraftKings, but I vote for Mouth. Fantasy Dog is such a great guy. We love him. He's such a great guy.
Thank you.
Why can't you do DraftKings? You don't have it, Fantasy Dog, or did you win too much money and they banned you? That might be my guess.
Nah, I'm for the people. If the people want underdog, they could have underdog. It's your supers. It's your money. It's your scratch. You super chatted. You paid for this draft. It's all on you
Keith
guys.
says underdog because Keith can't do DraftKings because Keith works for DraftKings, by the way.
What up, Keith?
So, Fantasy Dog. I'm going to give Fantasy Dog the underdog vote just because he also just signed up and not good at full PPR. Fantasy Dog, we're going to change that, buddy, because full PPR is way more easier to predict because we're predicting volume opposed to touchdowns. We can always predict usage. Touchdowns are a lot more finicky and a lot more random. Let's see. How about we do this? I know Mouth's always up late. Always up late. Let's start with underdog, and then if we get to another draft, we'll hop over to DraftKings. Everyone wins?
Everyone wins.
Let's do that.
Sounds
okay.
like a plan.
Keith says, "What's up, Mouth? Great job, sir."
Thank you,
We
sir.
love Keith around here. What a dude. And all right, that's it for us. Awesome show. Appreciate everybody. Jonathan says you talk about Kittle already running a little bit of routes at tight end U.
Yep.
100%, but cutting hard and stopping. I mean, hey, he's been adamant that he's coming back, like, full go week 1.
Yeah,
So
listen, George Kittle has been working with the same trainers that Christian McCaffrey works with. He's been getting himself into shape. They've been, if Kittle says he's going to be ready week 1, he's going to be ready week 1. Remember, when he hurt himself, he was like standing on the sidelines just
it was
walking
supposed to
around.
be a not a bad Achilles. I don't even know what that means, but I keep on hearing it. Thank you, dude. Great show. Thank you to everyone in the chat. Thank you for the supers. We'll see you guys in 10 minutes. And I'll send it out in the Discord for you guys. I'll send the link out. So about 1:10 a.m. Central. So 10 or 12 minutes ish. Thank you guys. Thank you, Mouth. Appreciate you guys. Check out Downtown Sports. Link in the description. Just go to YouTube, Downtown Sports. Give them a sub. Give them a listen. Give them a like. And you'll get some awesome knowledge that's not just NFL based. If you're into NBA, if you're into the World Cup, which is going to be going on for a long time, they're going to talk about the NBA draft as well. All the kind of stuff you need to fill that sports hole in your life.
We got you. We did an episode on the NBA draft tonight. We're interviewing Matt O'Boyle in the next couple of days to talk about the World Cup. He is also the godfather of drinking and talking sports on the internet. Rob, you're going to meet him when we bring him on. I'm going to try to give you guys the introduction so this way you guys can get to know each other and eventually get him on the Professional Fanatics stream. Going to see
little bromance brewing.
Hell yeah.
I like bromances. You know me, I love Brad Pitt. All right, guys, love your life, stay positive, and respect each other. We're out of here. Thank you, Mouth.
You just seem like a good dude. I thought I'd see if you want to grab a beer, that's all. I'm glad you called. We get home safe, Pistol.
You got it, Jobin.
I'm sorry, what? Nothing. Oh, what'd you say?
I don't know. You nicknamed me Pistol, and I just called you Jobin. It means nothing. I'm drunk. I'm gonna call a cab.
All right, man. You have my number, yeah?
I got you stored in my iPhone.
All right.